Okay, we're good. Spicy. Do we have to do a J-Pie warning if it's only the three of us? Have we thought about that? I don't think so, right? Like, I think we all get it.
It's more.
No,
well, the
Goose. If you had,
it's not when you pull your hand down. I know we're good.
Okay, I was about to say, but Goose, if you don't know when I hit the recording button, bro, come on. I feel like you would be the one to be like, this bitch has got to be recording.
I say a lot of fucked up shit, and you don't want that on the real show.
Oh, that's what editing is for. Anyway.
We're live. You can't edit live.
yeah. That's true.
You're gonna fucking bleep that out.
It's like,
bet I won't. I got the button. Oh my God. What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of the Fart. Listen to me, Jesus Christ.
This is a flagellant.
Bro, I'm out of it. Can you tell I woke up like half an hour ago? Like, holy shit. To this week's episode.
Today, apparently.
This week's episode of the Fault Partner panel. Welcome, everybody. As usual, we have an amazing cast that is very expressive, clearly. Goose, hit it off. Introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? I'm the Man Goose. You are awesome, and welcome to the Fart. The Fart, all about flatulence.
I hate him. Get me out.
Over to you, the
All
farting
right.
Wolverine.
All right, Goose. Thanks for gassing me up. I appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. I'm the Bearded Wolverine, your Michigan wonder. Also, Fault Partner. I'm excited to do this show for you guys. Oh man, I love it. You get us together or something like this. I can't wait to talk about what we got today.
Aye. And welcome, everyone. I'm WinduTheMace, aka Windu. Now, we all do our best to focus on fault.
Windu?
No, Jesus. No, anyway, we all do our best to keep in line talking about fault while we do these. But as you can see, that doesn't always go as smoothly as we plan. But anyway, so I'll tell you what. Besides this whole fart bullshit that's going on right now, we haven't actually seen too much out of Strange Matter in the last week. What's up with that?
Well, I mean, we did get that the Feng Mao announcement and the updated icons. You know, that was nice, so cool. I like those icons are pretty fucking sweet. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. We just recently got a new hero. Like, there's not really much to get out, I think, right now. Like, it's been a week since he's been out. You know, like maybe a little over a week. Like, I think I'm okay with us not getting. You know, we got items announced. You know, like new icon items, whatever you call it, however you want to say it. Item art. That's what I want to say. So, not item fart. All right, I don't want to. It's item art. So.
This shit's gonna keep on going the whole fucking episode, isn't it?
You started it.
Not on purpose.
Like Windu.
Stranger
I
than
can't with y'all, bro.
buddy. I appreciate you.
Oh Jesus, I fucking can't. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I see your point, and we did get 2 posts within the past week. You feel me? Right. I guess the reason why it might feel like we didn't get too much is because they were just short posts. You get me? Like, one of them was, for example, Dater getting a shout out, which we will go over, right? And then that Feng Mao picture, which they did include a couple teasers in there, which is kind of cool, right? I would have liked to see maybe, what if they would have actually just shown like a day or two after one of those new arts that got teased in the previous picture, just show us a bigger scale, like a high res version of that picture. You get me? Like, it wouldn't necessarily be anything too new, anything too crazy, but let's just emphasize in case you missed what we showed you on the last one. You get what I'm saying?
Right. I got what you're saying.
I fucking can't. Now the chat's joining in. Odo's in the chat saying, does that mean it's an item chart?
Nice. Well, as we're talking, breaking news, they just pushed a patch 15.1. so we can go over that while we're talking.
Oh, what the hell?
Oh, spicy. It's like they wait for it.
Right. So in 19 minutes, they're pushing a patch. So we got patch notes we can go over right now.
True. We'll go over them together. And there's a lot of Feng Mao balance just glancing through it. So that's going to feed into our chat.
Yep.
Why, thank God, Mangoose.
I was kind of happy they didn't do anything because I was going in tonight. I've had quite the fault experience this week. If you guys didn't hear, I completely lost my shit to the point there that I felt that I was very negatively affecting everybody's attitudes in Discord. So I completely just left the voice chat and decided at that point that was going to be my last game, because games are supposed to be fun. They're not supposed to make you actually angry. So, I just turned the game off and stepped away. I did play that game out as best as I possibly could, but I got pretty pissed off, and it was a culmination of things. There's been a lot of eye-opening stuff as I've been playing a lot of Fault this week, both good and bad. Like, there's really great parts of this game, but then there are some terrible things about this game, and a lot of it is perpetuated by the players themselves. So that's kind of what I wanted to get to. But let's talk about the patch notes. You want
to get that out the way?
Yeah. my topic sounds more like a rest of the shit.
Hey, man. All I know is we can knock these patch notes out real quick and then hit that subject up when you're 3 beers deep. So I'm A-okay with that, quite frankly. I want to hear how you really feel. Okay.
Channeling my inner Johnny Lawrence.
Hey, bet. So one of the first things that we see here, and giving a proper shout out here to Dater 99, fellow partner. It's a pentakill, actually. Like, I like the fact that, as we saw last week, they're now starting to show off some content and, partners specifically. I'm looking forward to seeing non-partners getting shout outs, right?
Right.
But I like the fact that partners are getting that little bit of love. And, I figured since Feng Mao just came out, it makes sense that they're showing Feng Mao clips specifically. So I totally get that, right? We see a Dater here, execute this penta. Now, I do want to say, do you guys think moments like this where, let's say, for example, a new hero comes out, do you guys think they should solely focus on that new hero? Like when sharing clips and stuff? Because I understand the appeal and why it makes sense. But what do you guys feel about that?
I think it's a good idea. I mean, you want to showcase your new hero. You want to generate excitement for that new hero. You want to show people doing really cool shit, so it'll pull people into the game. I have no problem with it.
I think that should be your focus, but not only focus, if that makes any sense. Like, if you have a badass fucking play done by a Quang, there's no reason not to show it off. Like, look, this was something that was awesome. Watch this, But yeah, like a lot of it at that time should be Feng Mao art, stuff going on with Feng Mao, but nothing like that should be too bad. Yeah,
I mean, I will say this. Do you think? Well, let me actually ask you. Do you guys think it would be bad if they started sharing like multiple clips a week? Do you think that would oversaturate? Like, if they do 2-3 shout outs? Because they could literally go into Twitch, filter all the clips by the last 7 days, and then just post something. You get me? That's new, that's recent, that's cool. That, shouting out to any content creator in the community, whether it be partner or not. Like, do you guys think that would be cool for them to do? Do you think they should probably steer away from posting 2 to 3 times?
I 100% think it would be good for them to do. And kind of on the topic of, just showing partners on this as opposed to just showing anybody that has a good play in Fault. I think it's much better for them to just show anybody that has a good play in Fault.
Right.
I've been thinking too, like, as partners, we get access to like sort of their media files. Like we get like their icons and stuff that will help you produce content for Fault. I think that should be available to absolutely everyone. It shouldn't just be partners that get that content. It should be everybody should get that content, because the more people that you incentivize to create content for fault, the better it is for fault overall, and the better it is for those content creators. So, all ships rise on a high tide. Let's raise that water level with everybody.
True. It is worth pointing out also that they do. So here's why I don't like how they went about it, and I don't like the naming. The fact that they have a press kit. It's, a lot of games have what's commonly called a press kit, right? So I'm okay with the name, even though I don't necessarily I'm not 100% for it. I'm much rather it be called like content creator kit or something like that, so people can see it and identify like, hey, I can use that. Like every content creator, you feel me? Because unless you've used a press kit before, unless you know what a press kit is, some people might look at press kit and be like, oh, I'm not pressed. I'm not going to click on that. You get me?
No, I 100% agree. I've always thought that with all of these games that have press kits, like that's a stupid fucking name for this. This should be content creation packet or something like that. I don't know.
But they do have a public one that's very limited. It's condensed. It definitely doesn't have as much as we now get, especially since the updated one that we got, right? It doesn't have nearly as much as that, but there are, logos, screenshots, certain banners, etc., that people can use. But I don't like the fact that if you go to their website, it's like 4 clicks away. You got to go to their website. Then you got to go to the community tab. Then you got to go to the partner tab. Then you got to scroll all the way to the bottom and go to apply for partnership. Then you got to go all the way to the bottom, then click on the hero kit that's there. Like that's the only spot to find it. You follow? Like man. It really is, bro. Like, hey man, you'll find the gold if you dig deep enough. You know what I'm saying?
Do you really want to create content for fault? Well,
for real.
See how bad you want it.
Like that definitely needs to be a little bit more accessible. Like if I were them, I almost would like to see it like highlighted, like main stage, like put it on one of the tabs and be like apply for partner or create content, right? Or even if you put it on the homepage way at the bottom and be like apply for partnership content creator kit. You get what I'm saying? And it'd be cool. What if they request, instead of just people applying for partnership and having like, hey, I got this many Twitch followers, this many YouTube followers, etc. Wouldn't it be cool if they had like, if they requested like a submission video, like make content and submit it and be like, hey, this is what I'm about, etc. So they can get a vibe for you. And they say you must use at least 2 pieces of content out of this press kit in that video. Show us how you can use our content. You get what I'm saying? Like, wouldn't that be cool if they did that?
I think it would be cool for just all games in general, because that's how you advertise now. The word of mouth comes from content creators and influencers. So there should be a specific tab just for content creators that has all of this information. Like, how do you apply to be a partner? Here's some stuff that you can use in your content. Like, here's like, I don't know, like they have their partner thing, but I don't think it should be limited to partners. I think it should be all content creators. I think partnership has its own very nice perks that come along with it that people should strive for, but that should be the reward for using all of these stuff that they provide to you and creating content for fault. It shouldn't be how you get access to that content.
Yeah. And I mean, you bring up a great point. They really should be trying to incentivize all content creators, not just the content like, hey, try to become a partner. And then when you're a partner, you're validated, that sort of vibe, Like it almost deters people from creating content, because I personally know people that have busted their ass for like 2 to 3 months, apply for partner, they don't hear anything, and they're like, I give up. Like, you get me? Like it's too much validation, like too much pressure put on, hey, be a partner or be a nobody. It almost feels like that's the image that's being represented, right? Where they really should be highlighting and, just showing love to all content creators and show them like, hey, if you get to partner, it's like a VIP status, right? But you still get to fly the plane if you're a normal content creator.
Right.
Is that a weird analogy? Does that make sense when I say it like that?
Makes sense to me. I really like the way Epic did it, where they would, of course, Strange Matter can't do this, but Epic would pull in content creators, would actually invite them to Cary, North Carolina, where Epic headquarters is, and have them like play games whenever they had like a big update or a hero release or something like that. I think Strange Matter could do that, but virtually, like as part of their community corner, pull in some content, like a content creator or two. That would really incentivize content creators to work really hard towards that. And by the way, yes, I got blacklisted from the Paragon content creators thing pretty early on, but you know what? That's my style, so they can go fuck themselves.
I can't with you, bro. I love how you just threw that in there. He's like, fuck them.
They blacklisted me for language. And it's like, have you ever watched RGS and Ace's videos? And that's like your flagship content creator, motherfucker. Like, they'll tell me that I can't say the F word, but he can say it ever, whatever. Fuck you, Epic.
Hey, man, we all know.
Nobody Odo. We know you.
Right. But I will say, there's definitely. So how do you guys, just to kind of hit on this last little subject, and then we'll go on to the next post here. How do you guys feel about the fact that certain influencers carry more clout and it allows them to get away with certain things with some of these gaming companies?
Ooh, that's a good question, because they certainly do. They certainly
you get me?
do.
I'll use without. I was about to say, without throwing names out there, I'm only gonna throw Mangoose out there, right? Like, I don't know many people that literally say like, "Hey, I'm not a partner anymore. Bye." Like, by my own choice, I'm bouncing, and then come back like less than a year later and be like, "I'm a partner again." Like, how you doing? That's like getting rehired at a company. You get what I'm saying? Like, getting rehired, you really got to leave either on good terms or be like, "Hey, we could use this guy. Like, you know what? He left us before. I get it, but he's got a following." If it were a smaller content creator with less of a following, I can imagine that would affect the decision. So, like, how do you think that Strange Matters should navigate that minefield? Because it's going to come down to a point that they're going to become invested with bigger content creators. Like, somebody with like 1,000 live viewers on Twitch is going to come by. And how do they handle that situation? How do you think they should?
It's a business decision. If bringing that person back on is going to benefit them, why would they not do it? Because I'm one of them. I'm one of the people that you could bring up. You could literally name off a content creator or an influencer that you're talking about. I'm probably not going to know who they are. I had no clue who RGS Ace was until he was on Omeda's team. I didn't follow Paragon content creators at all. I only knew of Mangoose and Briddick because of Paragon falling, and I was trying to figure out what's next. So other than that, I don't know these influencers that we're talking about when it comes to that. Now being a partner, I know some of these influencers, and I know what we're talking about, but like, I don't know. Like, Snitch. Stitch is doing his thing right now with League of Legends Mobile. Was that the Wild Rift or whatever? And it's great on him. He's fucking grown.
He's having great success. Yeah,
it, right. Yeah. But he also did a great thing for Fault with when Early Access first dropped and how much he grinded. He put a lot of fucking hours in right away. So if he came back asking to want to be partner again, sign him up. Why? There's no reason not to. I don't see any negative reason to pick him back up.
There's a line.
Yeah.
And that line moves with how popular that content creator is, I think. And that kind of sucks, but it's just the facts of life. It's not fair, but life isn't fair. Like,
it's the way the business works, for sure.
Exactly. Like, you got to think of it as a business, but like, I don't know. Like, I'm going to throw this out there. Like, the Bori has talked so much shit about Fault to the point that I think the line has been crossed, even though he is a very popular content creator. And like, it would never happen now because he's like the community manager for Predecessor or whatever. But I think he's crossed the line that Fault wouldn't be able to bring him in. But if you had somebody like stupid popular, like what's that one guy that he was a Paragon content creator, but he really took off with Fortnite? Myth, yeah. Like Myth could probably talk all kinds of fucking shit about Fault and then get picked up as a partner because he has such crazy influence. Like if you can guarantee that he has been enjoying the game and will actually promote the game a little bit, maybe he'll have his problems with it like we do and talk about it. But overall we believe in Fault. Then you should pick him up. It doesn't matter that he's talked mad shit about the game before, which Myth hasn't. I don't know. I'm just kind of pulling stuff out of my ass right now, but
right.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean,
that level of content creator, they should definitely move that line for.
But I mean, it also depends on the mad shit we're talking about that they're talking. Is it literally just them just throwing shade just to throw shade, or is it literally like warranted, shade? Is it something like did they go too far? Maybe, but is it a rebuildable relationship? That's something that could be possible. You just have to look at it and see what's going on, and the partner manager would have to have a sit down conversation with that person and talk with them and see where they're at and see if they're on the same page and again, and see if it's something they could rebuild and maybe come back on like a what's the word, if let's say you got out of jail and you're on probation, like come back on a probationary period, like here you go, like you're like a half partner or whatever, like we'll see how things go and we'll go from there.
And there's a lot of outside influence too, like you brought up a very good point, Bearded. It's like how they approached it. Like Windu threw me under the bus from the beginning.
as I always try to do personally.
Right. But if you look at my content, I don't just talk shit about Fault. I talk shit about all of them and I praise all of them. I praise all the games and I talk shit about all the games, and I try to do so as fair as I can be. I mean, that's up to the viewer as far as how they interpret how fair I am, but I do personally try to be as fair as possible, and hopefully
try to stay neutral.
That comes out in my content, and I think that's probably why Fault accepted me back as a partner.
I can see that. I mean, you brought up probably the most interesting thing that I've heard as far as relating to content creators in a while. The fact that your popularity depends where that line gets drawn. And like the more popular you get, the more leeway. It's like, we wouldn't have taken him when he was this popular because of the shit he did. But if that individual now it has 1 million followers, well, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay. We can forgive. Like, hey man, buy me chicken nuggets. I'll forgive anything you did. You know what I mean? Like,
Dino Nuggies.
Hell yeah, bro. I should go make some. But let's look at this picture that they shared here. So we see a little bit of Feng Mao action. We see that what's been going on with him in the past week. We noticed that he's been played total over 125 days and 20 hours worth of game time. We see that 57,941 people have died to a Feng Mao, which is kind of crazy numbers to see in a week. We see that there was a total of 6,408 games finished. I really like those numbers. I really wish we had a baseline though. Like, show us the phase baseline. You know what I mean? Like, does that mean that this hero is performing better? Does it mean maybe we'll see it with future heroes, right? We also do see that.
I get what you're saying, but that'd be a hard one to do. Because you go from a support to somebody actually like trying to get kills. Like you're gonna players killed. Like that's gonna be.
Yeah, like maybe for support, they could swap that one to players assisted and they just do total assist. Yeah, assist saved, right? That's what I'm saying. Like they could do something similar to kind of show off, right? And then when another support comes down the road, now we can compare. It's like, yo, people have played more of this character in the first week, or maybe in the first week, this character isn't as popular. You get me?
Right.
We also do see top masteries. I love that little detail. Showing 3 people that are at the top as far as masteries. I get excited for it, but I also kind of worry as somebody that used to take part in the Paragon Hero races back in the day with Miso Sneaky, for example. It's a cool thing to encourage, but it's also borderline unhealthy. Because I was one of those people that's like, hey man, we're streaming for 36 hours straight and getting the first, like trying to be, first person to get mastery ever. So it's very, there's a fine line where it goes from being cool to promoting something unhealthy. Because like now somebody's literally putting in, I don't know, 16 hours a day. Like they're only playing this game. Like it's both beneficial for the company, but at the same time, it's a very dangerous line to promote something that's a too much gameplay. You get me? So I'm a little bit torn on it, but I'm excited to see it at the same time. How do you guys feel about it? If you feel any way about it, right?
I mean, I like to see like there's just like this is what pretty much a week out. After a week, to see that somebody's already a level 6 silver, 2 people are level 6 silvers, like it's nice to see the commitment to the new hero, and that tells me that they're pretty well perceived or well liked as a hero. You get a hero that's now let's wait, let's go a month and a half down the line and we get a new hero and we get this update and they're a level 5 bronze, okay, that's the top mastery right now. Like, all right, nobody's liking this hero or whatever, or something's going on. Obviously that number is a little drastic, but you understand what I'm saying.
I get you. Yeah, it's still a nice shout out regardless, right?
Right.
I think boots should have been a separate category, like having 2 boots on this item top items list.
Like, I think it just shows the diversity of his build, though.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, but, how people, some are going physical.
There's plenty of diversity between all that. Show me the most popular boots, and then show me the other 5 items. That's what I know. And as Joey BG TV said, what the fuck is that dagger thing? What is that?
That's the Reign of Fervor. That's the
jungle, the smite item.
Jungle item. Okay.
That's the red jungle item.
Which I will say, I love that art compared to what it was before.
That item art and the red, the hunt, the boots of hunt, is great as well. Those new item art for that one. The Stoic Greaves, like that's a new item art as well, but it's not enough.
It's very similar to what it was.
Yeah, I'm like, I looked at it, like, there's a difference. I'm like, I guess,
it's just more 3D now, is what it looks like. Yeah.
The red items are fire. I love those. And the boots of the hunt, it literally just makes you even think kind of like an Indian style, so it gives you like that Indian moccasin style look. It's great. The name fits the item for sure.
Yeah, I really, really like the art. And I'm telling you, I'm loving that new Reign of Fervor. Like that, as somebody that uses that item frequently, I really, really like the way it looks. Definitely helps it stand out a little more, right?
It is great. Yep.
Now, let me ask you guys this. So do we think that these updates like this, like we get a little bit of a teaser, like this is a more all-in-one sort of update, right? Like they could have showed us item teasers separately, they could have showed us masteries separately. You know what I'm saying? They easily could have milked that out throughout a week, and like a post on Tuesday, post on Wednesday. What do you guys think about just having it all in one place? Do you guys prefer it? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Like I said, we just recently got a hero. Like they don't need to literally give us something, because then that's just going to give you, if you do something like that, then that's going to look like there's going to be a pattern started. And then people are going to expect something every day or something, or close to, or every other day. And then that's just going to, then Gen Chat's going to blow up. How come we didn't get anything today? I'm good with what we got.
I get that. Not wrong. Now, I don't know, man. Like, I think this is probably one of the most interesting hero releases in general.
You understand Bill's question, because I don't get it.
What do you feel about other games going race to world first races like Destiny, WoW raids, etc.? Is he just referring to just their competitions of the first person that does this? sort of vibe. Didn't I?
Yeah.
I kind of already went over that, but I have no problem going over it again. It's basically so
you're talking about the race to the mastery, like you were talking about in Paris?
Yeah.
That's okay.
So
gotcha.
It's a cool thing to promote.
I don't know what we're talking about.
You're chilling. So it's a cool thing to promote, right? And there's definitely the market for it. But there is, I don't know, there's a borderline that could be argued that whenever games promote stuff like that, they're also promoting unhealthy behaviors, like playing a game for too long, etc. Right? So it's like beneficial for the company, but maybe it's kind of exploiting certain people and be like, hey, like, we're also promoting somebody playing the game for 48 hours straight, which is very unhealthy. All it takes is one thing to go south or one person to die because the company was promoting it, and now it's directly linked to the company. It's like, hey, the company wanted them to do it. You get what I'm saying? So it's they definitely have to put like a lot of, hey, do not do this at your own risk, or we do not encourage playing more than this time frame, etc. And so I could definitely see the appeal, but it's a very, very dangerous line to
I don't think they should specifically promote it, but also don't think they're liable if some shit like that happens. I'm with Ron Swanson here. Like, if people want to fucking eat 500 cheeseburgers a day and fucking die from it, then it's their right. They're goddamn They can do that. If people want to fucking kill themselves playing Fault, then fucking go for it. But Fault shouldn't promote doing that, of course. No.
I mean, I don't know. I understand exactly what you're saying. Like, I don't think that's, I mean, it is obviously on anybody, like, because somebody could be doing that right now, but even though there's no event happening, like it could still, like, just because they're playing Fault, nonstop, and whatever happened, like, it is what it, I don't know. It would suck. I don't want that to happen to anybody, but I don't know, something like that for me personally, that event, it'll never happen. I only have my limited time I'm able to play. I'm not going to be able to grind out that amount of time, with somebody. There will always be somebody that's able to play more than me. I mean, just look at it. I mean, Windu, you play multiple games. I play Fault and Fault alone, right? So my level, my in-game level or whatever for my account is higher than yours. Yes, but there's in-game count levels that destroy mine. I'm like,
I came across a 300 the other day. I was like, God damn, son.
I compete against that. And those are the people who are going to get those masteries done, get them done faster. Or somebody that's able to, like, okay, guess what? Well, I'm going to take 3 days of PTO and I'm going to sit here and just grind. Like, I can't afford to take 3 days of PTO just to play Fault. Like, there's got to be something going on that's going to be more beneficial for me than just getting a mastery skin first.
That brings up another problem I have is the way keys are distributed with a lot of these games. Like,
what do you mean?
I don't like keys? That they're
like access.
Yeah, access keys. Okay. Because they're often just given out to streamers like en masse, and then they're able to give the keys away however they want. But that is assuming that everyone is on the same time zone and can watch those streams in order to get access to those keys. That's why I usually hold like a raffle in Discord or something over a 24-hour time period so that everybody gets a chance to get those keys. I've never liked that. I've never liked the way that they just give streamers all the keys all at once, and then you just have to hopefully be able to have the time to watch that streamer at a certain time. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just very separate, sort of weird tangent there, but it's something that I
always tried
the beginning of all this.
I always try because, like, especially with, like, it's the same thing as the Twitch drops, right? Something similar to that, right? Even with the keys, if when I knew I had keys back in the when I think we got keys for one of the events, was a Shadowfest or something. We ended up getting something, like, we were able to give away stuff, and I knew that I was giving it away. I would then, when I was done playing, I would then raid somebody that I knew who else was trying to give it away. So at least the viewers that were sticking around and weren't able to get something, I was sending them over there to somewhere else that could still now have a possible chance. I always keep that going just because I know that's what the viewers are there for, and I try to keep things going better for them.
Well, how do you feel about a lot of games, and I would like to see Fault do this too. How do you feel about a lot of games advertising on Steam that there's a weekend event coming up, let's say like a month from now, right? And they're like, hey, if you would like to request access to that weekend event, just click the button. And that way they have a little bit of time to accrue, like information, data, etc. And then from there, they can send access to those individual, whether it be temporary access or not. You feel me? I don't know what's going on with my camera today.
Jesus, what the hell? You're discoing.
I don't know what's going on with it.
I don't think that could be ever considered as
camera's farting around.
I can't with them, bro. But no, here's my issue with it. I don't know if that's something that they could do for a game that's technically already out, like a game that's already considered a live service. I don't know if that would be a feature. But even like a mailing list of the sorts, like if they're like, hey, like like you could use a million different mailing lists that are out there. Or use a mailing list and a sign up and be like, hey, click on this link and put your email if you'd like to participate in the free weekend. And now everybody that signed up got a free weekend key sent to their email.
Right.
That way they can also kind of just tally up numbers and etc. I don't know. Just worth considering. Maybe like a way to advertise it way earlier, while also collecting data from an earlier standpoint. Like, hey, how many people actually signed up a month in advance? How many people signed up last minute? You get me?
Right.
So I don't know. Worth considering. But let's hit up these patch notes real quick here.
Actually, before we go to the patch notes, let's talk about the tournament happening tomorrow.
Oh, true. Yeah. So shout out to our homie Plato, fellow partner, been on the partner panel several times. He hosts these periodic tournaments, and it actually takes quite a bit. Like one day that he was missing, the community tried to keep it going. I jumped in there to try to help. Actually, very, very complicated to run these. So shout out to Plato, right? But he is having a fall tournament that's going on tomorrow. And for those of you that are watching live or watching after the fact, it's February the 5th on a Saturday. And I don't know, I like the fact that the community themselves, like members in the community themselves, are taking it upon themselves to host events and be like, hey, you know what? Regardless of the player base, regardless of what's going on, there's some people that want a competitive environment. So we're going to host it ourselves. So shout out to Plato. Bearded, you might have some information that I haven't gone over.
Yep. All right. So it starts at 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. So 2/5/2022. They're going to pick captains at 11 a.m. Teams will be snake drafted amongst players that signed up. There are no mirror picks allowed. There will be winners and losers brackets. Current prize pool is at $125. It says any donations to my stream get contributed to the prize pool. Looking to raise $500, meaning $100 for each player on the winning team. I think that's all the important stuff. And then if you're not able to commit to 4 to 5 hours worth of gameplay, they don't expect for it to take that long. But that's like just to be committed to be able to play that, just so that we're not having.
This is set the expectation.
So 4 to 5 hours. They said the last one they had 6 teams, but it was a pretty doozy tournament that they had. Had a good time. I did post links in chat right now. There's a Discord link that they use to hoard everybody together and get the draft going. And then there's also the sign up link that I posted. You guys can sign up for the tournament. But that's all we got.
And we'll make sure that at least the Discord link for future events is listed in YouTube and the podcast and stuff like that to help promote. But yeah, it's mad cool, and I like that there's a prize money because it incentivizes, right? And the prize money is community funded. Like the community will come in and be like, yo, here's $5 for the pool, here's $10 for the pool, etc. And they're all and this is Plato himself also be like, hey, all donations to my channel just go to that. That's a big thing. Not every content creator is going to sit here and be like, hey, everything that you donate, I'm going to give back to the community to host an event, because it means that much to me. So shout out to Plato, bro. Like that says a lot about a content creator right there. Like that alone.
Yep. This is how esports for any game should start. It should be grassroots, organic, community level, nothing to do with the actual company. This is how it needs to go. And fucking shout out to Plato for this. Great job on his part.
Yeah, he's doing a great job on just getting it all together. I think it was my camera again. What the shit? But yeah, he's doing a great job in general. And I could definitely see that event growing as fall grows. You get me? Like, I can see that being like the go-to along with other tournaments that happen and stuff. So it'd be actually cool to see that event grow, to see how he can benefit also from those events, because that is a huge thing for the community and for him. So if you guys are interested, go to the links that are listed in the chat, in the comments, wherever it may be. Help support. And anything else that we want to add about this before we go forward?
Events, we just had a meeting and there will be a Valentine's Day event, just so you guys know.
Ooh, we got confirmation that we could talk about it.
Stay tuned for that Valentine's Day event.
Now, we can't go into too many details. Well, that's one of those weird parts, right? Like, it's like, don't go into too many details. Well, what do you consider too many details? Because I want to sit here and be like, hey, man, I'm going to just throw out a little hint. I don't know, but you never know what that might mean.
The hint is go grab some friends.
Grab some friends on Valentine's Day. That sounds like I was about to say on Valentine's Day.
I mean, hey, you can do it.
It's a lonely Valentine's Day if you spend it with friends. No, I mean, lonely, but not lonely. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited that Fault themselves, Straight Matter themselves, are actually hosting an event. They're letting us talk about it in advance because we still got a little bit till Valentine's Day, right? And that whole weekend. So I'm more curious as to how they're gonna lead up to that. I love the fact that they're promoting organic word of mouth ahead of time. Like typically when we find out about stuff, it's like, hey, don't say shit till we're ready. But the fact that now we're like, hey, we can tell you it's happening. That shit's going down. What's going to go down? I guess we're going to find out, right? I'll let you guys know how short my leash is getting, depending on what happens after this video, right? Like, I'll tell you if I get a slap on the wrist. But I like the fact that, hey, that this is happening. I like the fact that what this means for the future also, like the fact that more events are likely to happen based off of, days of significance and such, like specific dates. I like that we're able to now, dude, that's just my favorite part. The fact that I could just fucking talk about it ahead of time. Like, you feel me? Like, I'm the type that it's like, hey, if you're going to tell
right now,
bro, because if you tell me that some shit's going on in 2 weeks, but I can't fucking talk about it until the day before, why the fuck did you tell me? Like, how did that help me? I'm literally sitting here like, I don't know, guys. Hopefully they do something soon. Like,
it's perfect because that's what we're here for. As partners, we're here to help generate hype. And you give us just what they were doing. You're like, hey, you can tell them the day before, and it's like I have 24 hours I have to use to generate hype. Like shit. And now we can get things going a little faster, a little. It's gonna be nice.
I like it. Now, actually, you know what? It's something I didn't ask. Maybe you know the answer to this. When you say the weekend of Valentine's, is that the weekend before Valentine's or after Valentine's?
Oh, Valentine's Night on a Monday. So I'm gonna say it's the one before. Technically, I would doubt they'd do it. I doubt you'd go 5 days after Valentine's and like, okay, this weekend, here we go. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be that Saturday, that probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday, somewhere around there before that Monday.
Yeah. So I will say, like, I'm not necessarily hyped because it's Valentine's Day event. You know what I mean? Like right. That part I can totally care less for. I'm just hyped for the fact that they're actually getting the ball rolling on doing more events. Right. Yeah. And then hopefully that means,
I don't care the fact that it's Valentine's Day event. That normally with their events, they got something. I've yet to see an event they put off that was like, oh, it was nothing. It was just literally just gameplay. There's usually something going on, whether that's a map change, whether that's avatars, whether that's skins. There's always something going on with their events. So I'm hyped for it.
Yeah, just seeing those change to the game in general is probably the more exciting part. Yep. And again, like the more exciting part for me is what it could mean for future events. Because the more comfortable they get hosting events, the more frequently they'll do them. The more comfortable they get, the more content they'll give you at the same time and be like, you know what?
Right.
We can afford to do a little bit more next time. Let's push the envelope a little bit. Let's see what we can do. So I'm just excited, bro.
Prime's just a plushy teddy bear that's holding a heart.
I would have mixed feelings. I would like that something would get changed, but I would absolutely be like, why the fuck is Or Prime a teddy bear, bro? I would have mixed feelings as fuck. I don't know how I'd behave. I really don't. You just fucked me up with that question. I don't know if I like that. But let's get into the patch here real quick. So one of the first things that we're going to point out, again, 15.1 literally just got announced and released as we're doing this recording. So shout out to them for knowing our schedule. But let's start off with some of the bug fixes here. So apparently, as far as abilities are concerned, they fixed an issue on some stairs hindering the targeting of certain abilities. Now, I will say that we've seen that issue in the past. So maybe that's just a hardship when adding verticality to some of these games and abilities, right? So I can definitely see certain abilities as they get added to the game. Maybe that's going to get a little bit of tweaking, but it's nice to see that that's going down, right? On the core, they fixed an issue causing deaths to the enemy fountain to credit the kill to a target. That was a pretty good bug. I saw a lot of people exploiting that you could actually confirm your own kill, like your own bounty, and it would feed the bounty to you if you just went and kamikazed into their core. Like if you just made it. So it was definitely a big exploit that was game changing. I'm glad that got changed. Very, very nice to see.
I never saw that.
What, maybe you didn't notice, you feel me? But maybe that's had to do with somebody stomping on the other team. So I'm glad that it got adjusted.
No, I think I would have heard the enemy core being attacked type thing.
I don't. It wasn't the core. It was the fountain, like where you regen, where they just step in insta-die.
True.
All you would see is that the enemy died and nobody got the credit for the kill. So I'm glad that got adjusted.
It said core above it, so I was thinking like you were literally attacking the core. But okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why it's called core, but I get it because it's in the core area. So sure.
Right.
Then as well, Feng Mao, couple different bug fixes, right? His right mouse button is Guardian's Shield. Fixed an issue causing the shield to do damage to heroes in stasis where they shouldn't take damage. So that's a good fix. His Q fixed an issue allowing player to dash out of the fountain before the start of the match. I did not even know. What the fuck? Somebody was doing that shit? Teleport out to the other side of that wall, and then you imagine you gank them as soon as they enter the jungle? What the fuck? Oh my gosh. Okay, so good thing that got fixed. Fixed an issue causing ability to clip incorrectly on various objects on his teleport. I can tell you that after the Fault Partner panel last week, I definitely ran into that a lot. As playing as much Fang now as I did, like his teleport would get caught on, like a Decker AoE or like a Gadget AoE. Like if you were inside of Gadget's dome or ultimate, you couldn't teleport out. The teleport would get stuck inside of the dome. Like it would collide with it. So I'm glad that that's a fix that they're implementing. Now, as well, his ultimate, the Imperial Sentence, fixed an issue where it was only granting first ability level amount as extra bonus physical power after executing. So apparently it was just stuck on the first. It wasn't scaling properly. Fixed an issue allowing Feng Mao to recast his ultimate after the recast window expired if he was still aiming the ability. Oh, so apparently somebody found a bug where as long as you pressed R and it was targeting, like without confirming, you could literally just walk around with it because it was still technically you never unclicked away from it. So I'm glad that's fixed. I can only imagine how many people took care of that. Like, you'd feel me? How many people actually took advantage of that? The timer ran out, walking around the map with R, just waiting.
30 seconds away from him. How did he still use it?
Yeah,
Yep.
That explains what we talked about last week, because they definitely was one of those, like, I was literally just in chase mode, but I had my ultimate targeted, ready to cast. Maybe it's something that I didn't even notice, but it's possible that I would have gone past the time threshold there as well. So good to see that there's a lot of balance changes, a lot of bug fixes that borderline made him very broken in very ways, right? Both good and bad. So I'm glad to see that some of those changes are getting implemented. As far as items are concerned, Radiant Poise, fixed an issue preventing the stasis from being used while spell shielded. So there was like a little clash issue between those two, it seemed like. Nirvana Jewel fixed an issue preventing stasis from being used while spell shielded. So it looks like it was just a stasis issue across the board, but see, that seems to be fixed. Super Minions fixed an issue causing double Super Minions to spawn even without all the inhibitors destroyed. I don't think I ran across that one. I definitely would have noticed. I definitely would have noticed Super Minions. Be like, what the fuck is this doing here? The inhibs are still up.
I did notice Super Minions spawning like way too fast. Like it just went down and they were in the next wave. It was like at least one was in the next wave. It was like, what the fuck?
Okay.
Like, no.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That would have been bad.
So big change there. Good. Now they're adjusting favor here a little bit. I want to read this paragraph that they have on here. It says, it's long been mentioned, that we plan on a full favor overhaul in their system. And so until we aren't working on bigger, better things, we will continue tweaking the current favor system. The benefit that each raptor was giving did not seem rewarding enough when compared to the risk to take them. The overall intent behind the objective, which is to provide a means in the early game to build up power and influence through successive acquisitions of the objective. Sorry, that word fucked me up. Each point of favor is roughly 50 gold's worth of stats. So we're increasing the overall benefit giving to the entire team from favor from 750 gold to 1,000 gold per raptor. Okay. So what they're saying essentially is they're giving everybody an extra favor point, which across a 5-man team, it'll equal to your entire team getting 1,000 gold distributed amongst them. Is basically the math that's adding up there. So I mean, I get it, because there were a lot of matches where it's like, hey man, we don't got to worry about wraps until they start getting to 4 or 5. Quite frankly, if they have 2-3 wraps, we can still easily win this game. So I like the fact that they're making it more valuable. I also worry
it's that way. I mean, I think it's more beneficial. Yeah, I mean that 4 favor points is going to be huge, but like it's not much more than 3 favor points. You know, like I guess I see it when you're looking at it as a team.
Yeah, only when stacking.
Then, like you're literally just adding 5 favor points. You know, 1 to each person all the way across. Like it's not. I mean, and again, I think it's it's still the same mindset. Like you are, as long as you're not. If you don't have the ability to defend it or get a good attack, just let them take it. It's not worth to fight over it. It literally is.
Well, I'll tell you how it's much more impactful now, because beforehand, what you would receive in 4 raptors, you're now receiving in 3 raptors. That's a significant shift. You got me, like how I was saying before, like you only got to worry about after like 4 or higher. Now, as soon as they got the 3rd raptor, which can be relatively early into the match, like they could easily get 3 raptors in like the first 25 minutes, right? Now it's a bigger power spike.
I still think incrementally going from there. Though. I don't think that mindset is ever, hey, we're just going to wait until the 4th raptor and then we'll go attack. You know, it gets more of like, okay, if we have a clear run to the raptor or we can get a pick, yes, we'll take raptor. But it's never a, hey, we need to, like, literally at 6 minutes, there's going to be a team fight at raptor. We need you there. That's never like you don't need to do that. It literally is at the point. It's, hey, it's 4 favor points, 6 minutes in. We're not worried about it. Let's get the landing phase going, or keep the landing phase going. And then we'll meet you at raptors in 12 minutes or whatever the reset timer is for that, you know, like.
You know what I would have preferred? I might be alone on this, but I would have preferred that the Raptor, along with a smaller or prime, just be a little bit tankier. Because right now, if I'm a Feng Mao with red boots, I can solo the Raptor. Just as long as I have my red boots.
I got Mangoose on my side here. I know he's going to agree with me. So Mangoose, you don't even have to talk.
I disagree.
Be like, I'm just going to put him on my side of the table here. You're welcome.
I think Raptor needs to be a progressing reward. You get it you get the first Raptor, you get this. You get the second Raptor, you get this. You get the third Raptor, you get this. And that way you start stacking Raptors, and that's more beneficial for you. I think that's what it needs to be. Not just 4 favor all the way around. Every time you go, you get there, you get 4 favor.
Like you would say, like first Raptor, everybody only gets 2 favor. Second Raptor, everybody gets 3. The next one after, everybody gets 4. It's like, the more you prioritize it, the better reward it is for the later game. That sort of vibe.
I mean, it doesn't have to be yes, in a sense like that. But like, it doesn't have to be favor. It could be like a team buff. You know, that like you get it, and then like now we have this team buff that goes on or whatever. You know, like, and then when the higher you go, the bigger the buff. You know, the more Raptors you get, that buff is now. But and then obviously you're gonna have just like a cap, like, hey, if you got 8 Raptors, you're not getting like the 9th Raptor is not gonna give you anything extra. It's just gonna give you that same,
Bro, if you got 8 Raptors, why the fuck are you still playing? Just end it.
Yeah, that's what
you feel me?
Yeah, 8's still high, but you know what I'm saying. Like, just pick a number, whatever that number is. Like, hey, this is your cap. And then you're good to go. But like something, just some kind of buff that kind of lets you go from there. You just kind of, as you go, like, all right, the next one we get is huge. We got to get that 3rd Raptor.
I feel like somebody should probably make the Raptor scale, because it is one of those things that once I have 2 items on a carry with boots, I can 3-shot the Raptor. I literally can just go in there solo. You feel me? Like, shouldn't it scale with the rest of the minions?
The Raptor scales with the team, like how well the teams are. Like it scales against the best team.
No, the jungle camp gives me more problem I literally struggle to kill those 3 minions in the jungle camp more than the Raptor.
I'm not saying that it's not easy to kill a Raptor. I'm saying it does scale. Now, does it scale enough? Probably not. I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, I know, like, Raptor and Prime, they put that out, and it was like 13.8 or whatever. They put it out like, hey, the Raptors are gonna, it literally depends on how the team fights are going now. Like, it's going to benefit to be the highest team or whatever. If you're the best team, you're going to be able to go through it easier than it is going to be if you're the worst team.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I just want to go back to the
easy. I just said it too.
The Raptor in Fault gives favor. The Raptor in both Predecessor and Overprime give like a team-wide buff that increases each time you take that objective.
Yeah, like the buff changes. Yeah.
Strikes me as far more meaningful than the favor.
I mean, I see how they're trying to incorporate the favor, because it's like, the Strange Matter is a unique thing, and technically you are getting a team-wide buff, but it applies to everybody differently depending on what you're building, right? I get the uniqueness of it, but I don't disagree with you that those 4 points of favor might mean more to a carry than it does to somebody putting it into health, for example.
Right. And you can still utilize favor. Favor can still be part of the buff, but like something else that goes on with it as well. Like, I don't, I'm not the one that can sit here and develop a game, and I'm not one to know all these like buffs that are going to happen. But like, for the next X amount of time, you guys get 8% lifesteal, like by killing Raptor, plus you get 2 favor, like by getting Raptor or something. I don't know. Like, that's, is that a good thing? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not the one to I don't know.
I mean, that's interesting.
What Overprime and Predecessor are doing, and I'll tell you, I can give you something that's a little bit better with it, but like, I'm just saying, I think that idea is better than just using 4 points of favor flat all the way across every time you get Raptor.
I mean, you just brought up an interesting point, because the larger amount of favor, kind of like PP Doc is saying in the chat, it just promotes death falling, right? Or snowballing, excuse me, not deathballing. It promotes snowballing because, and you know, as long as you prioritize those raptors, your team has 5 raptors, they have none. Your team's going to be, you just helped out your whole team. Your team's pretty damn beefy at this point, right?
Right.
But the way that you brought it up is interesting. What if they got a temporary effect plus favor, but not too crazy favor? Like, let's say everybody gets 2 favor. It's a little something, but the better, like the favor stacking is better for late game. But for the current state, it might be maybe they get 5% Omnivamp or something where it's healing from abilities and basics, right? Or maybe your team now gets an increased, I don't know, 5% movement speed for like a minute.
Right.
Like just some sort of buff that might dissipate over time that can give you an immediate reward while the favor slowly stacks in the background. I don't think that's a bad idea. That honestly might be something they could probably look into. It just be more about what they decide to do and how they decide to implement it to make it balance, right? But yeah, definitely.
Now they did say in that paragraph above that this is just something they're doing until they actually, because they still have a
completely rework
that they overhaul they want to do, and while they're still working on that, this is just what they're going to tweak. So that could be something that they're doing completely. This is just their holdover, just to hold us over until we get to that point. So
I'm more interested
in that dev stream. Sylphan said that he eventually wants to get it to the point to where favor is it's different based on the individual. Like the favor you get is different if you're a Murdock or if you're a Sparrow. Like you're getting something, however that's benefiting there.
That'd be cool. Like if they get it to that point where the favor that you get helps strengthen your weakness as a character, right? Like let's say, for example, a Sparrow that has 0 mobility, maybe favor on her would increase her movement speed slightly. Whereas opposed to maybe a Twin Blast got a mobility and attack speed, maybe not necessarily the most damage. Maybe he's going to get damage per favor. So who knows?
I don't know if that, I understand that it completely makes sense, but then I also think that then it just becomes overpowered like that. Like these characters have these weaknesses for a reason. Like you take that weakness away. Now it's just what's like literally you just put God mode on, especially a late game Sparrow would that doesn't have slow, like who can just run across the map like no issues like that. Like how you stop that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that favor rework because the last time we saw a favor rework, we went from favors scaling individual items to now favors scaling individual stats and ignoring the items completely, which was a good change because now you could build whatever you wanted and still scale the favor that the stat that you wanted. Feel me?
Right.
So I'm very curious as to how they're going to rework the whole system and how long it's going to be, right? Because they're talking about it now, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see that change anytime soon. They're just letting us know, hey, this is a Band-Aid in the meantime. Now, on heroes, they actually mentioned here the intent behind basic attack carries is that they have limited influence in the early game, yet scale heavily through the power of items. Meaning as gold becomes more prevalent across the map as the game progresses and the more items they acquire, the more their influence builds and compounds itself. A lot of commas in that sentence. This contrast between weak and strong was not as evident as we'd like it to be, especially when the carries are in an offlane role. True. And so a portion of their basic attack damage has been redistributed from the early game into the late game. Carry basics should be roughly 9% weaker in the early game, but scale through hero level, more to reach the same end game potential as before. As a carry main, I was about to say, as a carry main, this sucks, but I like it. It was needed.
I was gonna say as a carry main, like this is where like I wish I would have joined the game now.
It's because you didn't get used to the way it was before. Because
I'm so used to what I'm able to do and how like what the power I'm able to I have in through the whole game. Now I have to adjust that until I get to late game, and it's like that just it sucks. I understand it. I just wish I could line up all the people who would just like take advantage of ranged off lane. I could just punch them in the face.
Okay. I mean, it was needed, bro. Like, I'll tell you, as a carry, there's no reason why just because I'm 3-0, I can box anybody in the team and fuck them up because I have one item already built. You get me? So I completely get it. But that's also going to be a bit of a shift because the team's going to realize, hey, we might need to babysit the carry a little bit more as the game progresses.
Right.
So I get it. PP Doc in chat is asking, what do they consider a carry? So basically, when they're saying carry, anybody whose basic attack is the main damage of their kit. That's what they're saying. Like, for example, Feng Mao was advertised as Feng Mao was literally advertised as a melee carry with mobility, right? So Feng Mao, you're probably gonna see maybe some changes to that, right? Like, who knows? We're gonna go into it. If they didn't change Feng Mao in that list of carries, like literally, they should have what is it? They should have Feng Mao. They should have Boris. They should have Kalari in that list of carries. But if they're literally only going off of what other games might call a marksman, like the range carry, that's going to be rough.
This literally is that sentence. Read that sentence again, or that paragraph. That is all for ranged offlane. That's to combat against range offlane. That's what that is. Just like the last patch.
To stop range. I got you.
Literally, this is so we don't have a Murdock in off lane, so we don't have a Twin Blast in off lane, so we don't have a Sparrow in off lane, so we don't have a Grim.
Or Grim, for example.
And you go down there, and you're gonna see that that's you're gonna get. It's literally to help stop. But the problem is, we need something else though. This is as an ADC main. Yeah, you keep picking on us ADCs, but like
buff the support
too. What about more Gesh off lane?
Yeah.
You know,
I definitely think abilities in the offlane are much more dangerous than basic attacks in the offlane.
Right.
But let's see some of the changes that they meant here.
And she's got her abilities. Like that's some bullshit.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, Countess.
Yeah, so let's get into Countess. Now they're mentioning here burst assassins are meant to deal damage in bursts to overwhelm and surprise their targets. When balancing the gameplay of these type of heroes, considerations need to be made regarding the outplay potential. And Countess was not providing enough of this potential through her ability to deal rapid damage. Okay, so on her E, they added a recovery time of 0.1 seconds. So yeah, after you cast it, you can get back to doing whatever the hell you were doing a little bit faster. Okay, quality of life change. Her right mouse button, the blade siphon, added recovery time.
Sorry. Added recovery, Dark Tide, the E. Which one's that?
That should be her cone.
The little.
Yeah, the wave that she throws forward. So now from when you actually start casting the ability to getting back to doing whatever you were doing, basic attacking, casting the next ability, it's basically 10% faster.
Gotcha.
Or not a full 10%, sorry, because I don't know the actual full length of the animation, but 0.1 second faster.
Added recovery time of 0.1 seconds. Like added recovery time. So I think that's gonna slow, like, right? Would that not slow that? It's worded. Yeah, I can see how it's.
Okay, I get what you're saying. So added recovery time, so they made it so it takes longer. I really wish that were worded differently, quite frankly.
Yes. Felix, no, it's not faster. It's how long you have to do something else. Okay, so it takes her longer. She's not able to do the next thing for another 0.1 seconds. So it is a nerf in a sense.
Interesting. And then on here, we see on her right mouse button, base energy armor reduced from 32 to 30, and then added recovery time to her right mouse button of 0.125. Okay. So it's interesting that they're then providing 2 nerfs if that's the case. But then in the paragraph above, they're like, she wasn't good enough the way we wanted her, so let's make her a little worse.
Hold on. So burst assassins are meant to deal damage in bursts to overwhelm and surprise their targets. When balancing the gameplay of these types of heroes, considerations need to be made regarding the outplay potential, and Countess was not providing enough of this potential through her ability to rapidly deal damage.
Okay, you know what?
I think it's
giving the prior conversation. I get it now. So they're basically providing more outplay potential for people going against Countess.
Yes.
Okay, I get it now.
And the next person.
Gotcha. Okay, I get it now completely. So then we see on here, Feng Mao, his base health got reduced to 540, so they reduced it by 10 HP. Base energy armor got reduced from 32 to 30. Okay, small change. We'll see how that goes. The Reaping Dash, the Q cooldown got reduced.
That's got to be reversed. I actually, one of our viewers sent me that in a DM and said
it should be increased.
That's the Ryan Red or somebody or Balix, whoever wrote this. I think that should be the number should be flipped. So I think it should be 14, 13.5, or it should be an increase, cooldown increase.
We just got told we need to refresh. Okay, interesting.
Increase, so you need to refresh, fixed a while ago. Okay, well, all right, sounds good.
Refresh. All right. Cooldown increased. There we go. We refreshed it. Cooldown increased from starting at 12 seconds, ending at 8, to starting at 14 seconds, ending at 12. That was definitely needed because that teleport of his definitely came through a little bit too quick. You really couldn't get away from him. He could apply an instance of damage from it. So that's a much needed nerf to his Q. Then we have his right mouse button.
It also reset on kill too, didn't it? So you already get a reset on it. Like it, I mean, the numbers should be a little bit higher in my opinion anyway. So I'm definitely.
That's a good point. I would argue that the teleport cooldown should actually be even larger because it has that benefit of going straight to 0 if you get a kill.
Yep.
Like it really should be a high risk, high reward. Like, hey, either you kill somebody and it refreshes, or you're stuck there for the rest of this fight for damn sure. Even if you built the cooldown, right? Because I've seen some nutty cooldown builds on them.
What is Gideon's teleport? Because if you're using Gideon's teleport, it's mostly for escape, right? There is sometimes
not always.
To kind of. I said usually. I know it's not always. Yeah, there are times you do it to engage it, and I'm just saying, right? So, but I mean, like, so if you're using it for escape, but what's his cooldown? So if his cooldown is X amount, whatever, you don't get to use it right again just to keep going down lane. Like, I think there should be it should be around equal to that, I think, or maybe a little bit more than that because Gideon doesn't get to refresh it if he gets a fucking cosmic rift landed perfectly or something. It doesn't get a reset, so or a kill off a cosmic rift. So I think it should be a little higher than that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree because a good Feng Mao will still be able to successfully get a kill, use it at the right time, and then have another teleport to get out or whatever it may be, right? So I like the upplay potential that it provides. I just definitely think it should have a bigger setback if you don't execute it properly. Higher skill level. Then his right mouse button, the physical power scaling got reduced from 100% to 85%. That definitely was needed because the amount of shields that you could get.
Yeah.
That one is definitely a bigger nerf because the amount of shields that you got, the amount of damage was kind of nutty.
They could have made this from 100 to 50. That be the only change to Feng Mao, and that would have been a sufficient nerf to Feng Mao.
Like, that would have if they did that would have hurt the fuck out of him, bro. His right mouse button is so relying on
is his bread and butter. That is the problem with Feng Mao. If you have an all-in hero that's supposed to just deal a shitload of damage, don't also give them a fucking 600 shield when like on demand. That's
when they're building squishy.
Yeah,
I mean, I like how they designed his shield. Like, if you have any shield left over, it explodes and does that as AoE damage, or you could just use it as a shield. It got absorbed, whatever, right? But I don't disagree that the scaling was definitely too high. I could definitely see the scaling on the shield being nerfed again later down the road. I think this is more of a soft nerf that they're like, well, let's see how 15% affects it. And then later they might be like, yeah, maybe let's turn it to 75%. Like they're going to slowly tweak it. Right?
All right. So just because I want to make sure I remember what you guys taught me before, physical power scaling reduced from 100 to 85%, right? So this is when I put on an item, Sword of Souls. I put Sword of Souls on Feng Mao, which gets me up. And once I stack it all the way, I'm getting 100 physical power off of that. So I'm getting 100% of that. I was getting 200 physical power off of that because I was getting that extra.
No. So the way that it works is, whatever power you've built, that percentage of scaling gets applied as extra to the ability. So beforehand, if you built 100 power, now whatever your shield did, add 100 power to that.
Okay, that's
in this equation, right?
You're getting 85% of that 100.
Correct. So if you build 100 power, now you're only getting 85, 200, etc. Scale from there.
Got you. All right.
So overall, as the further the game goes down, you're gonna notice the significant decrease, because it's not like 15% scaling is actually pretty nutty when it comes down to games. So I can definitely see that making a difference. I could totally see them nerfing it even slightly more, like down to the 70s probably. But a nice change to see overall. Like, as somebody that's been playing Feng Mao a ton, definitely needed adjusting. And then on his ultimate, the execution recast delay got reduced to 15 seconds. Used to be 20. I would have been okay if they halved it. Like a good Feng Mao, 10 seconds in a fight is a lot. I'm going to be real with you. So if a good Feng Mao could recast within 10 seconds, 15 seconds, that's arguably giving him, like, that's like you kill two people, the third person showed up to fight, it's still there, the fourth person showed up to fight, you still got the recast. You get me? Like, those fights can end pretty damn quick when the time to kill is so sensitive. And then at this point, I could totally see them lowering that to 10 again. But again, this seems more like a soft nerf to not kill him, like, not bury him to the ground and just see where he stacks. That's what I think this is.
Yeah, I mean, and I've always been a supporter ever since we've been doing this show about them doing these slow changes. Not like, I don't want to all right, we're gonna go to this end of the spectrum. Okay, now we got to bring them back. Let's work our way to that part of the spectrum, and we'll get to that fine spot where we need to be at. So I'm okay with this. The fact that they brought it down is great, and we'll see where he's at. In a week or two or whatever, and we'll make changes from there.
Yeah, I could totally see them going back to the drawing board with him and adjusting a little bit more, but it's a step in the right direction of some of the things that definitely make him a little broken. Then we see on Grim here, his base damage got reduced from 58 to 53, but then damage increase per hero level got increased from 2.8 to 3.09. Very specific number. I'm assuming they just took the final number they wanted and they're like, divide that by 18.
Right. So and then what is that? That's 58 times 18, right?
No. So what it is you grab 3.09 times that by 18 and then add it to 53. That's how that math would go. But then we see them do something very similar on Murdock, right? Like Murdock, his base damage was 64, now it's 59. And his damage increase per level went from 3.5 to 3.79. We see it on Sparrow. Base damage got reduced from 53 to 48. Damage per level increase is now 4.29, used to be 4. And then we see Twin Blast. He went from base damage 47 to 42. And then damage per hero level increased to 3.04, used to be 2.75. So it's kind of interesting to see all these side by side, because we don't really get to see them side by side often like that. How much each one of them scales in damage per level and where their base level is at. Like, for example, somebody can easily see it's like, hey, Murdock level 1 hits a lot harder. But if you allow those levels to kick in, somebody like Sparrow could easily catch up and surpass the base damage. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I just did the grid math. I didn't do anybody else. I did the grid math, right? And 58. So the way it was it was 108.4, and now it's 108.62. So you're actually getting a 0.22 increase at late game.
Okay, but still similar.
Identical.
It's just making it so you reach that stage later in the game, right?
Right.
But it is interesting to see, though, like, especially with the scaling and everything, like Sword of Souls might seem more enticing on certain heroes than it might on others. Some people might actually get in there and do the math and be like, hey, this character, Sword of Souls is a good idea. If you're building a Twin Blast starting off at 42, has the lowest scaling out of all of them, maybe you might want to go for something that will give him a little bit more of a boost right now. Like, I've seen a lot of Twin Blasts go back to a Gravedigger crossbow, for example. So interesting to see. We'll see how it goes.
Murdock and Grimm both ended with 0.22 more than what they did before. It's almost like they purposely wanted the 0.22 at the end.
Interesting. So it's like, hey, we're punishing you early. Let's at least give you a little bit more later. So
right. I mean,
interesting to see.
It's going to do for me, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but when it comes down to scaling and adding a whole bunch of other items and stuff, I can definitely see how they're trying to make it so that carries won't just rule the lobby with 2 items. This literally might be like, hey, now you might need the 3rd or 4th item on carries because it definitely makes a little bit more of a difference, right? But we'll see how it goes. Like all of this in theory versus in practice can definitely be very different. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll come back to it next week.
This is once again duo carries paying for the sins of offlane carries.
Yep. Yeah.
Not wrong.
So Grimm, Murdock, and Sparrow. I'm not going to do Twin Blast. I'm just assuming that it's 0.22. All but those 3 were 0.22 higher. So, yep.
Gotcha. So it just makes sense across. Okay.
Yep.
So then we see some item changes here. Now, Baleful Armor, the area of effect damage from the passive changed to 24 in the beginning, scaling all the way up to 58 damage dealt. Now it's basically 24. You're starting at 24 and then you gain 2 per hero level. But the damage was increased by 50% against minions and monsters.
Ooh.
So I don't know. I don't remember if this is a nerf to the damage or just an adjustment, right? I'm not too familiar on what the actual stats were. If somebody in chat could probably check on that for us and let us know. But it's interesting the fact that it's going to be more useful against minions as opposed to people, which I think definitely helps control it a little bit, because we all know Baleful Armor is arguably one of the best tank items in the entire game. Because of all that damage that it actually outputs, it actually sneaks up on you.
You're getting 2 more base damage. So it stopped at 58, right? 25 to 58. Now it's 24 plus 2 per hero level. So once you get to 18 levels, you're getting your stop at 60 now. You'll max out at 60 instead of 58.
You think so? Because I feel like here they're saying
it's 2 times 18, right?
Yes, except level 1. You feel me? Wouldn't it?
So
oh no, I guess if you. Yeah, because I think if you equip it for some reason level 1, it would just be the base 24, right? I think the hero scaling, the per hero level only starts when you start adding more. I don't know, but essentially, if this math is correct, right, it starts at 24, ends at 58, regardless. So I'm interested to see how that's going to affect laning of everybody that has it, and how it's going to affect actually going up against people. Because, for example, a ranged offlane versus a Baleful Armor now the Baleful Armor is going to be able to clear waves much faster, which means they're pushing into that range person a lot faster as well. I almost feel like, as far as laning is concerned, it might be even more meta to take that T1 and get that solo laner start rotating. So we'll see how that goes. Then we see
D-Trigger says, though, you also have what the jungle clear is going to be faster now too.
True. Very true. And monsters, so that's going to affect wraps, everything.
Yep.
So we're definitely going to see a shift of people that decide to build armor, but they don't necessarily lose out on that wave clear or the jungle clear as before, right? So that's going to be super interesting. Then we see Demonic Embrace. Passive activation health threshold got increased from 35 to 40% max health. So now the Demonic Embrace extra life steal, whenever you're low, gets triggered earlier. Again, I think this is just one of those changes to maybe get people to use Demonic Embrace more. I've seen people use it more frequently, but not as much. So maybe they're just trying to make it relevant. Matter limiter, the slow that it provides got increased to 30% once you actually have it equipped. So careful for gadget mains out there. We see, as far as the support items are actually getting a couple different changes here. So the Bracelet of the Opulence, which is,
it's about time.
You think so?
Yeah, it should have been an automatic evolve. They're the only ones that had to pay for it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. That needed to be done a while ago.
They don't get enough 100%. Gold as it is, but they got to pay for it. Like, come on now.
Yeah, that for sure. So now it automatically evolves from the shiny bangle, as you said. Once it's evolved, true. Once it evolves, it'll give you 2 health regen. It now grants 5 golds every 10 seconds automatically. Health got increased from 300 to 360. Energy armor and physical armor provided got increased to 15 on both of those. Very nice. The earlier stage, this is kind of weird how they put like the upgraded version, then the previous version here. But then the shiny bangle, the initial stage of that, now is going to give you 3 gold every 10 seconds. The Valor gain timer, basically how quickly you can farm, got reduced to 35 seconds. So you'll be able to get those stacks a little bit quicker. And then it evolves into Bracelet of Opulence for free once you've earned 750 gold from the item. So even if you're not consuming your stacks properly and you're just relying on that gold over time, it will eventually upgrade itself. Yeah. It's not necessarily only skill based, but if you have the skill, you can upgrade it faster. I don't mind that. I don't know how impactful that's going to be because it definitely seems like a big buff, but I don't mind it.
So it says, and this is just might be me being too nitpicky. It says now evolves to Bracelet Opulence for free once 750 gold has been gained from the item. But you also get a normal gold drip too, right? So are they literally going to negate what, okay, this is the normal gold drip and like, okay, this is what you've got. This is your 750 you've gotten over that. Or is it literally just going to be once you get 750 gold?
No. It's going to be from the item.
From the item?
It's not going to include gold drip or minion kills or anything like that.
Okay.
I would hope not. That would be fucking stupid and overpowered if it actually included regular gold drip and regular gold gain. But yeah, okay. The way it's worded, I do believe it's just going to be what you get from the bangle. Okay. Once that equals 750 gold, then you're good.
Okay.
I mean, D-Trigger just put in the chat, you get 1,200 gold over 20 minutes, just doing nothing. So, I mean, in 20 minutes, you'll at least get free boots. So, I don't necessarily think that's too bad. I'm really just more interested to see how it's going to go in lane, because considering that the traditional carry just got a nerf in the early game, I also do feel like that support has to come online a little bit quicker just to be able to keep that carry alive, especially since duo lane is a 4-man party half the damn game.
We had a 5-man party over that one time. Like
it's like that.
It was like 5 minutes. Like we had 5 minutes. We had the solo laner come on. Like, what are you doing over here? Like Raptor's not even up for another minute. Like, what's going on?
You're not wrong. PP Doc in the chat is not wrong. It's a 6-man because you have your ally helping their team out. It's like, bro, chill out. Stop feeding. Don't go into a 1v5. What are you doing? But I like the change overall. Again, this is one of those theory over practice sort of things. So we're gonna have to wait and see if it actually makes sense, right? Moving forward here, then into the Scrystone. Basically,
when you were gone, your camera was fine. So
yeah, I must be an alien. Confirmed.
Vampire.
Yeah. I wouldn't be showing up at all if I was a vampire, brain.
Yeah, you're not showing up at all right now.
You're not wrong. I don't know what the fuck just happened. Anyway, good thing the stream can't see it. So moving forward, we do have the Scrystone. Very similar changes, right? Now grants 3 gold every 10 seconds. Gold gained from Valor got reduced to 20. Now evolves into Scryer Obelisk for free after 750 gold has been gained from the item, including the stacks and the gold gained per 10 seconds, excuse me. The fully upgraded version is going to give you the 5 gold every 10 seconds. Gold gained from Valor did get reduced to 20 though, and then energy power you get from it got increased to 45, while the mana regen got increased to 1. So a really nice substantial difference as far as the energy power and the mana regen on that one. I like that Bangle provides you more armor because it's melee. I like that Scry provides you more damage Because even if you are the melee character that likes to be hella aggressive, like a Narbass that's landing thunks every 3 seconds, you really can choose to go for Scry and benefit from the damage and the mana regen and such, right? Probably not the play, but who knows how that goes. Just excited to see supports come online a little bit sooner, because they never came online before and then they always stay behind. So I'm very interested to see how that's going to affect the dynamics of the dual lane, to actually have a strong support in there. You basically carrying the carry as it should be until the carry comes online.
Right.
Now, from there, we also see a few changes here on starter items. Titan's Bow now grants 10 bonus damage to basic attacks against minions.
I like that, because of what they did, the changes it's made. They just made me weak in the early game. Well, at least now I can still do my wave clear to about what I was doing anyways. So that's going to help me a lot.
Yeah, so be mindful. Titan's Bow already gave you the 10 flat damage, just like a pistol. But now you get the extra 10 damage to the minions, almost making it more beneficial to start Titan's Bow for somebody like me that never started Titan's Bow, right? So definitely more worthwhile of a starter item, almost making it be like
lifesteal.
Yeah, plus the lifesteal that it kicks in after the fact. Then from there, the Titan Spellbook, typically the mage starter item, bonus basic attack to damage minions increase from 5 to 10, so they get a little bit of help with the minion clear. It might just be me, but for a character that never really is going to build into their basic attacks, unless they go through a specific build, right? I definitely feel like that should probably be a little bit higher. Like, I wouldn't have been mad if it was another 5, like 15, because last hitting with your basics as a mage is definitely a rough life in mid lane. Now,
I haven't had a problem with it, to tell you the truth.
So
with any mid lane hero,
I don't either, because I
Really?
don't play mid.
I can't with you, Brad. Well, I can tell you at least and I'm assuming that it's going to be a significant change noticed throughout, but at least as a carry, because I'm always playing fucking carry, right? When you go from a carry landing a basic attack to then out of nowhere that one mid lane match, you'd be like, well, okay, I got to adjust. I'm definitely not doing as much as I'm used to here. So it's going to be interesting to adjust in general, being a range character with a weaker basic attack throughout the game, and then picking up these early items to compensate. Then we also have Titan's Armor, bonus basic attack damage to minions, increase from 5 to 10. So if you Titan's Armor, it looks like throughout the board, they're just like, hey, grab these starter items, it'll help you in the laning phase. And if you don't grab these starter items, if you decide to start with something different, then you're gonna have that disadvantage as far as laning, but you chose to go a different path. So I don't have a problem with that. I like those changes there.
So Molo says with the changes in starter items, this is not going to nerf. It's not going to be the nerfs to the offlane ADC like that we were talking about. What do you think? Thoughts on that?
So it's a nerf to offlane ADC as far as boxing. Like, as far as actually laying down damage to the enemy hero, it's a nerf. As far as being able to just sit there and farm, technically that's not a nerf, right? But if you're an offlane carry that's literally just sitting there last hitting, and you're losing these fights when you actually pick a fight, it's easier for a Greystone, a Quang, a Sevarog to bully that person, because now that melee character, they know they have the advantage if they start a fight in the early levels, right? Like, let's say level 6 and before, they know if I start a fight, he's not going to be able to kill me. My damage output is higher. My sustain is higher. I'm going to be able to win this fight. His only option, if he decides to go solo carry, like solo Murdock, is to sit there, farm, stay away from me, and he won't come online until like level 8, for example, or something. But if I let him live, if he's 0 deaths by level 8, that's my fault as a melee offlaner.
Right. No, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, if you can pretty much just kind of suffocate him then at that point, you can get some minions here and there, but you're not going to be able to get the kills and just power feed yourself like you normally do with the offlane as well.
Yeah, which we know that's really where the main source of gold and AXP has been coming from, the fact that they can easily bully and get kills. Now they can't easily bully. They can't easily get those kills. They might still be able to, depending on skill level, but it's not as easy for them to do so, even though it's just as easy to farm, if that makes sense.
Now, I do see a problem with what Molo's saying here is, literally just going and free farming. You're not like, you literally, as the enemy offlaner, you need to go and force that issue now with the changes that are there. Because if you don't force that issue and you just allow them to free farm, then they're going to get levels faster than the actual ADC, and that's where it's going to be like you're going to go. Because I know I look at now, like, as me an ADC main, like, I'm sharing my XP with my support, and I look over, I'm like, fuck, their solo laner is like 3 levels ahead of me. Like, son of a bitch, how do I stop that Sevarog? Like that's where the issue is still going to lie. If you
but that's also going to add more value. But it's going to add more value to individuals that actually freeze their lane. You feel me?
Right.
Because if a solo laner is doing his job properly, he could easily freeze the lane in front of his tower. The moment that ADC has to walk past halfway to actually land the last hit, now he can get fucked up all the way back. You get what I'm saying? And I have this sustain as a Greystone or a Sevarog or whatever to be able to do that. You feel me? But if their solo laner is just shoving lane and lets them free farm under their tower, then they kind of did it to themselves. You know what I mean? Does that make sense when I say that?
Oh, it does, yeah.
I like the fact that, I don't know, am I weird to think that I like the fact that they're discouraging it because it's going to be harder to box, but they're simultaneously be like, hey, if you really, really want to, because offlane ranged is a strat in every MOBA across the board, whether it be League of Legends, Smite, whatever. Like, if you really want to, you can sit there and farm, and if you manage to stay alive, you'll scale just like every other lane, like you're in mid, for example, right? But you run the risk of going up against somebody that could probably fuck you up in the first couple levels easily, at least the way things are now. So I'm interested to see how that's actually going to play. Again, theory over practice. I don't think it's a bad change in theory. I'm really just more concerned about how it's actually going to play out. Is it going to be enough? Are they going to have to change it more? Is it too much of a change? You get me? Depending on how it goes. So we'll see. I'm not mad at it though. Like, shout out to them for actually dropping a patch as we started this shit.
Right.
I'm telling you, bro. They're like, oh shit, they went live, bro. Push it before they say we didn't do enough. Like, yeah. But yeah, man. I think these changes to Feng Mao were needed. As somebody that's been loving playing him, I could definitely see more changes coming down the road. I'm pretty sure Mangoose would agree on that. Mangoose, if you want to go back into that little rant that we started, I'm more than welcome. Like, you're more than welcome to go into that. I'll follow you through the rabbit hole, bro.
No, I mean, it's whatever. If you're looking to wrap the show up, then that's fine too. I don't need to go into my fucking rant.
Hey man, at this point we're extremely early.
At this point,
what's that?
Matchmaking?
On MM, yeah, matchmaking at this point.
Matchmaking is so fucked. Everybody knows it. Like, false matchmaking is fucked because they don't have enough players, and then the players that are there are driving away new players. So
let's actually go in
spiral that they need to fucking bring themselves out of. But I don't like to bring up a problem without having a solution. I have zero solution for this problem. I don't know how they need to fix it.
Well, we could elaborate on that a little bit, because I think we could all agree that their matchmaking is designed for a player base that isn't currently there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think the argument could be made is maybe the matchmaking is well made, but there isn't enough players. So then the argument could be made, should the matchmaking be there if the threshold of players hasn't been met?
I mean, I do agree they have a good set of matchmaking if you're in the right spot. Like where I'm at with Elo, like I literally, if I solo queue, I will go up against my Elo range. Like I do a great job with that, right? But I can see where other people, like you guys last night, you guys got matched up against someone. It's like, this is not This is an unfair advantage in some of these things, and we've seen some other people get matched up against, you know, the elo difference being a pretty big gap, you know, from their worst player to their best player. You know, the one team's worst player, the other team's best player. That's a huge gap, and that's where the issue lies. Yeah.
I mean, I think a threshold, like, here's the thing. If they implemented a threshold between the difference between the highest player and the lowest player in a lobby, people might understand that might lead to a little bit longer wait times. But like, as a good player, you don't want to go up against somebody that's 1,000 elo below you. It's almost a little bit too easy. Like, it feels like bullying at a certain point, right? Like, it's just like, damn, bro, I can definitely tell this person's new. Like, every fight I could literally fight this person in his minion wave and still win. Like, this, it isn't fun to just kind of shit on somebody to that level, right? So I really think personally, and I'd love to hear what live chat thinks about this and everybody watching after the fact, but I would love to see some sort of cap. Like, the difference between the best player and the worst player isn't more than like 400 or 500. You get me? Because if you have somebody at 1900, it's a fair assumption to say somebody at 1400 or 1500 can actually defend themselves quite a bit, as opposed to, I've seen a 2100 lane against a 900, and they were on my team. They're on comms with me, and I, like, you know, it's a new player. I'm trying to show them ropes. I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna be real with you. You're gonna have a rough time. Just play from tower, play safe. I'll try to come by as many times as I can, but I can only imagine how many times it's happened, and you haven't been in comms. I can't with you, bro.
I mean, the problem there though is if you do something like that increases matchmaking timers, then you're going to increase the amount of Smurfs in the game. Not necessarily a bad thing for Strange Matter, since you have to pay to create a Smurf. However, a lot of the frustration I have with Fault comes down to not being able to really truly play the game. Like, you want to play a game of Fault, you come in, you see, okay, that Bellica is account level 23. I'm playing Gideon mid lane. I'm just going to go out there. I'm going to farm my lane, relax a little bit, maybe hit them with an ability or two. They'll hit me with an ability or two to activate their Titan spellbook, and it's all good. And then 5 minutes into the fucking game, that Belka's doing cartwheels under your tower while melting you with like 3 abilities. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? Yep. And it's because their main account is like 223 and they're a fucking Master Bellica, and you just got fucking styled on and you have no idea what the fuck just happened. And you learn nothing from that. A great example, I went up against a Grux in the off lane while I was on Greystone. The Grux was definitely better than me, but I still had a great time in that off lane, even though we lost the game, because I was able to at least adjust a little bit to his play style and try and learn a little bit of what he was doing as opposed to what I was doing, how I was playing as opposed to how he was playing. And it was really fun, even though I was against somebody better than me. So I don't necessarily mind losing, but getting absolutely crushed, it's
demoralizing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know plenty of people that, not necessarily even over a long period of time, let's say just on a daily basis. You know how many people are like, hey, Windu, you want to play Fault? And I'm like, sure, let's get on. After one game, they're like, fuck Fault. Like, these sweaty ass bitches literally going, I have a support that's 20-0 right now on the enemy team. Like, fuck Fault, I'm going to go to Minecraft. And they literally play the one game and they just don't try it for like a day or two. And then they come back later. But so it's trying to keep it constructive. What can they do about Smurfs? The only thing I can think of is maybe IP restrictions, but that wouldn't be fair for individuals that live in a single household, family, etc. Like, there's just no fair or just way, like, where the many don't pay for the mistakes of the few.
I think that if they're gonna Smurf, they're gonna Smurf, right? But there are gonna people who aren't gonna Smurf. They're not gonna go through the hassle. They're not gonna spend the money. They're like, I don't care. I'm not that worried that much about it, you know. Or they'll just queue up and they'll just wait for the long queue times to happen. Like, I'm not too worried about the Smurfs. Like, I don't come across Smurfs I do come across Smurfs, but I don't come across like Smurf like that often to where I it's not like every match I go against like motherfucker, another Smurf. You know, like I felt that way when I played League of Legends. I'm literally going against a Smurf every time I play a game of League of Legends. And that's look how big their player base is. You know, so it's gonna happen. You can't stop the Smurfing, right? So I'm just hoping, but like at this point, I mean, if anything, just benefit from it as Strange Better Studios. You're making money off of it, off them happening, and the amount you're limiting the amount of times that person is going against that, master player, and allowing them to go against somebody more there, by restricting that elo range, you're making it to where they have to do that, and you're having a better chance of them going against an actual person in their range than it is actually a Smurf.
Interesting. Let's talk about what Aimless is saying here in the chat. Shout out to Aimless Gaming. So he's mentioning, what if you made it a little bit stricter for new players? Like if you're brand new, there's a good chance that you might only, like, level 25s and under only go up against level 25s and under. So where even if somebody that's smurfing, they'll get those levels hella quick because they're constantly winning. You feel me? And new players might still be within that threshold. They'll play with other new players. Like, yeah, a new player might take a little bit longer to find a match because the new player restrictions are stricter. But the counter argument could be made, like Aimless is saying in the chat. Would you rather have that new player wait 2 minutes longer for a match? Or would you rather that new player find a quick match against a high player and then never come back? Like, which one is the lesser evil there?
Yeah.
Well, it's literally, you could just flip a coin, and you're gonna. It's a 50-50 chance there, really, when it comes down to it. The master player, or the high elo player has been a while. They're hardcore. They're the loyals. They're gonna be here. Guess what? They know what this game is going through. The new players, they just saw the game on Steam or wherever, or they saw somebody playing it, so they picked it up. They don't know much about it. They don't know that it's still in early access. They don't know anything else, so they go into it and they get a long queue time. Oh, this game's, I'm not gonna play this game. But the loyal players be like, oh, yep, long queue times. That just means, all right, we're still waiting for people to, come on, or whatever. Or we know it's early access. We know whatever it may be,
Do you think it might be better the other way? Like, the more experience somebody has in the game,
I could see,
make it stricter for them.
If there was a way of making sure that new player knew that this is an early access game and we got a small player base, and then that's why you're getting a long queue time. If there's a way that you could guarantee that that's what was happening, because that's the new player is the one that we're trying to impress. We're not trying to impress the loyal player that's going to play no matter what's happening. Doesn't matter if Fang Mao's broken, he's going to continue playing, right? It doesn't matter if Boris is broken, they're going to continue playing. They've been playing. There's a reason their elo so high and their level's so high, right? That's the whole point. They play no matter what. It's those new people that we're trying to get them to stay here and play the game and enjoy it and be here for full release. That's the player we're trying to impress. So if we push them away because of long queue times, if we push them away because the master they're going against is just destroying them, if we keep on pushing away these new players, it's going to be harder for this game to succeed.
It's definitely two different sides of the same coin.
100%.
I would say.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely a little bit on the rougher side. But damn, like, you know what I was just thinking about? What if they had it to where, imagine you boot a vault for the first time and a little notification comes up like, hey, our game is still in early access development. We are not fully released. We are currently working on growing our player base every single day. We recommend that you try out our global chat feature to help coordinate with other players, make friends, and get matches going. Just somewhere along those lines, give a positive spin to it to let people know it's like, hey, if you don't find a match, go to the global chat and be like, yo, what's up? Where's everybody queuing or whatever? Or you could
go to playfault.com and get access to our Discord and talk to our bots there. If, to get more information, stuff like that. Like, yeah, I would love something like that. Would be great.
Definitely like a Discord link or something, like advertised would be cool.
Yeah.
I was also going to say, because when you look at the in-game and you're changing servers like EU, NA, SA, etc., there's plenty of space in that bar that's currently there. Like they don't even have to change the size of the bar. There's plenty of space in there to actually just put like how many people are in queue. Like, you feel me? Like they could literally put NA in queue 37, EU in queue 52. So you can kind of see how many people are in queue. As soon as a match gets started, now those people got removed from queue, it'll update and be like, yo, this many people in queue. Or I don't know, like that's information that they could easily just put out there to kind of give people the idea. Be like, yo, they're like 300 playing, 5 in queue. That means the rest of them must be in matches. Does that make sense? Like they could easily implement that sort of section in there if they really wanted to. Or like when you're switching between servers, click on a details button right next to it. And then a pop-up comes up and it'll tell you, hey, EU, this many online, this many in queue. So you can actually see like, damn, there's 200 people playing right now, but there's only 7 people in queue. Everybody's in a fucking game. That's why. It'd be a little bit more about intuition. You feel me? Maybe not as simple as, hey, we're going to spell it out for you. But having that option in there, I could see a lot of people appreciating. I don't know how you guys would feel about it. You think, would you actually even use that shit if that shit was in there?
I mean, I would, yeah. I would definitely use it. But I mean, I'm not so if you want me to play devil's advocate against it, it's going to be the people who just want to shit on Fault and want to call it a dead game. So they'll take screenshots of the, of NA when during NA times that it's not, like during, like literally we're like sleeping or at work, and they're like, there's nobody in queue at NA. Like, oh, take a screenshot. Look at this dead game,
Right.
And,
put a time next to it. Put a time next to it. So people are like queuing NA 6:30 a.m. Why aren't people playing?
Yeah.
We're like, the fuck you mean? I'm sleeping.
Wait, should that matter though? I mean, that highlights a basic problem with Fault right now is that you can only, yes, it's open 24/7. Can you play it 24/7 in the server that you wish to play? Fuck no.
Right.
Right.
But I mean, I that is a problem. I agree with that, but that's a problem we've had. And I'm saying by putting the amount of people who are queuing at that time, but then which is what Windu is saying, is like you put like, hey, you have NA server, you got 200 people in queue or whatever, that would be your, but if you go in there and you have 0 people in queue, that's just going to be another meme that'll be people will create and just be a negative factor for them because you have those people who just want to bash just to bash,
Okay. I missed that part because I was peeing. The part where he's talking about showing how many people are in queue. But I think Red Clown brings up a really good point, is that could also be detrimental. If people see how few people are actually playing the game, that could be a big turnoff for them. Yep.
And that's what I'm saying. This is the part that sucks with the people not understanding that we're in early access and we have a low player base. That's where getting that awareness out there is what would help a lot of these new players that they just don't understand that they came into an indie dev company early access game. Even though it says early access on it, they still just don't understand that. They think they came into they're in this game and they want to play it. People just don't see the differences in that.
I think most of Fault's problems stem from not only the low player base, but the players themselves. Yeah. The Fault community fucks Fault over so bad. We talked about this at the very first. Like I got so pissed off at Fault the other night that I removed myself from voice chat so that I wasn't dampening everybody else's mood, and then just fucking, played my heart out for the rest of that game, but I quit immediately after. I haven't touched Fault since. I absolutely irate, and it was a culmination of a lot of different things. And it started with, I was playing a game with Cherry Temper, who is a pretty big Overprime streamer. She was giving Fault a try. She wasn't doing great in the mid lane, but that's fine. She's just learning the game. She wasn't comfortable with rotating and stuff like that yet, which that's how you learn. You start with the basic steps of learning how to play in your lane. Then you start rotating and that sort of stuff. But experienced fault players were being passive aggressive assholes towards her because she wasn't rotating.
Right.
It wasn't necessary. And it doesn't matter if you're being passive aggressive or aggressive, it's all being a dick. And if you're a dick to new players that are trying to learn the game, then they're going to be turned off of the game and they're not going to play. So that's what started my fucking.
Well, yeah, and the problem is everybody accepts. Oh, it's a MOBA. You're going to have toxic people. That doesn't mean that's the right thing to do. That doesn't mean that's what you should do.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we need to conform to that idea. Like it can easily be changed if we literally just focus to not be that way. I hate that mindset that people, oh, well, that's just the way it is. Like, no, it can easily be changed. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a weird subject because it is one of those things that we definitely should be actively as a community working to try and be more understanding, specifically towards new players, right? Because of the small player base. But I also feel like every established or dedicated MOBA player already just has it in their mindset. Like you're either toxic or you're weak. That's that sort of bullshit, right? And I mean, you even had it, Goose, like in that last match where you're like, you know what? Fuck this game. I'm out. You even had it where one of our fellow fault partners was, just made only the one comment that we don't have an offlaner. And that shit just pushed you right over the fucking edge. You get me?
Yeah. Which normally wouldn't push me over the edge, but it was, like I said, it was a culmination
of yep.
of a lot of things.
Yeah, the two matches you guys had before that was it was a rough matches and stuff like that. Yeah.
After three shitty games, it's easy to just be like, hey man, fuck this.
Yeah, we had matches against Smurfs where they were playing their main from their main account. Like, if you're going to play a Smurf, play some shit that you're not used to playing, you know what I mean? And give the other players a chance. Don't play the one that you've been playing for fucking years now.
Right.
Yes, a Smurf to dick on people is definitely
that's different. One thing. And then the other thing was, like, the match prior to that one where I lost my shit was the one where I was up against the Grux, where I knew he was better than me, but I was learning from him, and it was a fun experience for me, even though I lost my lane. The next match, I was up against a Feng Mao off lane with goddamn Greystone, and he was fucking up constantly, accidentally dashing under my tower and taking shots and fucking shielding at the wrong times and missing his hamstring, all sorts of shit. But he was still fucking dominating me in lane, which was kind of pissing me off that Grux was so much better than him, but he was just doing way better than me just because he picked Feng Mao off lane and because his jungler just kept showing up at all the right times. Like, every time green buff spawned, his jungler was there. Every time he was aggressive and I could have pushed back against him, I noticed their jungler dewarding me. So I couldn't push up against him because I knew I would get fucked over. So, I got the mindset, okay, my jungler's not going to help me out. That's fine. I'll just play off lane as best as I can. I'm going to lose this tower. That's fine. I'll just farm up and be as good of an offlaner as I possibly can without any help, while their offlaner has plenty of help, and hopefully we'll win the other lanes.
Right.
So, with that, I'm trying my absolute best, and then the guy makes we don't have an offlaner. That set me off, which it probably shouldn't have, but
I mean, there's always going to be the straw that broke the camel's back, and that could be the smallest straw ever, but it was just enough, and it sucks. The situations you get put in, I mean, it is what it is. The thing is on that, and the way everybody else should be with that situation is, yeah, you can rage and you can get pissed at a game and you can do whatever. Now, I agree with what you're saying. Games are supposed to be funny. You shouldn't be doing that, but it does happen. It gets the best of us sometimes. But you weren't in there just shitting in the text on anybody else. You weren't, you didn't get called out, and you didn't just go in the text and just start blasting everybody, or whatever, or complaining about whatever, being toxic. You literally were in your voice, and you even got out of voice chat to keep the toxicity away. Like, you did everything you could to keep the toxicity out of the game, and that's what everybody else needs to do as well. Like, those people that were flaming cherry temper, they should have just avoided it as well. You can get pissed all you want because your mid lane's not rotating. there's times I'm gaming as I'm streaming. I'm like, fuck, dude, I would like as a dual lane. All right. And a dual lane, you're supposed to be getting ganks from the jungler. There's times I've run a dual lane. I'm like, dude, I haven't got a gank yet. Like, we're 30 minutes in. I've yet to see the jungler one time. And I'll say that, but I don't call that person's name out on stream. I know if my viewers are paying that much attention, yeah, they're going to know who I'm talking about. But I'm not saying that. I don't call that person out individually, but I was like, man, like, I'll make those comments, but I'm not in, hey, can we get a gank? Hey, dude, do your job. I'm not doing that because I just don't flame that person. I'm like, I just voicing myself out loud, and that's that's the most I do.
And there's ways to say that. Like, you could say, hey, jungler, they're pushing forward really far. It would be a great opportunity for you to gank our lane. Not, this fucking jungler hasn't ganked our lane once.
Right, exactly.
People are going to actually respond if you request help rather than just flaming them. And that's what I saw with that game where they were flaming our mid laner. There was never a moment where it started out as, hey, mid lane, their mid laner is rotating a lot. Can you come with them whenever you see them rotate and help out or something like that? Like, there was never any of that. It was just like, I wish we had a fucking mid lane, or just passive aggressive shit like that. That kind of,
see, I think
it ruins it for everybody, and it doesn't help the person that you're flaming at all. Whereas being constructive could help them. Now, if you're the kind of person that wants to play like that and be like that, then that's fine. You paid for the game. You get to play however you want. But if you want to see the game succeed, you're going to have to learn how to use tact when talking to other people.
Right.
So I will say, I think that's a direct effect that we're witnessing because of the matchmaking and the low player base. Because
exactly.
Like like everybody has the skill level that they think that they are. And they're already under the assumption that if I enter a match, everybody on my team should be at my skill level or better. That's like the mindset that they go into. Like, when they don't realize, like, yo, again, based off of experience. Well, anyway, but you need to stop downplaying yourself. Anyway, but the thing is, like, people automatically react as if, like, hey, I would have done that shit if I were jungler. How come my fucking jungler isn't doing that shit? Like, that's their mindset. And they might not realize, like, yo, homeboy's like on his 10th game ever. Or homeboy over here literally is on an account level 25. He's got a few games in, but this is his first time playing mid lane ever. Like, there's no indicators for that. And since they're in the lobby, they automatically just make the assumption, hey, he knows what I know. That would honestly just, I don't know, man. Like, it's a tough thing to say, but it really would be fixed if people under level 25 only play with people under level 25. And if you specifically say, like, hey, like, you'll reach the rest of the population if you reach this level.
The problem you have with that, though, is we're talking about level 25. You got those Smurfs that come in. Now they're going to go. Now you basically just fed them to the fit. Here you go. You putting a shark in there, like, it's like.
It would be negated. It would at least be negated, though. The amount of Smurfs would be.
You're gonna have. It's gonna be few and far in between. You get me? And, like, let's say even if somebody makes a Smurf and they fly through those first 25 levels, right? Do you really think they're gonna make another Smurf and fly through the first? Like, do you think people are literally gonna sit here and only buy Smurfs to only shit on the new people? Because that's going to be less likely, even though it's still possible.
I just think that you're going to get the people. I'm not even talking about just doing it to shit on the new people. You're just going to, you're creating a Smurf. Like, okay, I'm going to create because, like, what if, I'm not at this point, but sorry to interrupt. What if the Smurfs, like, when somebody makes a Smurfs, if they knew everyone I'm going up against is new in this fucking game, they might actually act different, as opposed to making a Smurf, getting into a game and be like, there's fucking Bearded on the other team, or there's Mangoose on the other team. Now I'm going to try hard regardless of the new people that are there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they 100% knew everybody in this lobby is brand fucking new, maybe they might actually say, let me chill the fuck out. Yeah, that's a good way. A good possibility. Another thing that I think that needs to happen is, and I love that they added it, with 14 is the AI mode. And I think I said this before, but I want to reiterate again, they need to make it to where you can change who you go against. And I think it's only loaded in to have the 5 players they have in there, with whatever you take in. But they need to change it, because just because I go in as a dual lane Grim, yeah, I know how I can lane against Muriel and Murdock that are just literally want to push, to no end. But how do I lane? How do I understand a Twin Blast, abilities and how he is being used? And how do I know how to go against the Sparrow and her abilities being used? How do I know against a Fangmao jungle? I need to.
You only find that out in PvP, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What I was about to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think it matters who you go up against in PvE. It could be the same shit over and over again. You're never going to learn how to actually play the game until you play in PvP.
I think, well, at right now, the state, I agree with you, but I think that needs to change. You need to be able to, they need to work on their AI system, is what I'm saying, to where, because right now, Chimera doesn't gank unless it's mid lane. You don't see Chimera.
He's programmed to walk through and engage anybody he sees. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. He's gonna walk through the jungle. He's gonna clear the jungle. He's gonna go mid lane. He's gonna clear the jungle. He's gonna go mid lane. He's gonna clear the jungle. He goes mid lane. That's all he does. So AI needs to change. It needs to get a rework to it. It's great for what it is now. I get it.
Let's not say rework. Maybe just an update.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Lack of better term. My bad. So
no, you're chilling.
It needs to get an update, but it also needs to be able to I want to be able to go in especially if I'm solo lane. How do I go up against a solo lane with the range issue? We're talking about that. You're not like Windu said, that's a tactic in all MOBAs. So how do I compete against a ranged off lane? Well, right now, if you go off lane, you're going against the Greystone, not guaranteed. You can't, there's no way to go against it. So how do I okay, well, if I'm getting hit here, how do I you could easily do it if you could go in and change your enemy team. I want my enemy team to be lined up like this.
You know what's interesting? And I just read this in the chat. Shout out to Aimless. What if instead of basing their matchmaking off of this elo system that was originally designed for chess players and a bunch of high player base, etc., what if for the time being, and only for the time being, they switch it to a KDA based matchmaking, to where hey, people that have average KDA of 2 to 2.5 match with each other, 2.5 to 3 match with each other, 1.5 to 2 match with each other. You get me? Just based off of similar KDAs to you, because you could be a brand new account, but if you go 20-3, now next game you might be going up against better players because you have a better average KDA on your account. Because that would probably be a more accurate way to determine skill level with a small player base, as opposed to going off of this MMR system that is impossible to know true skill level because of the small player base. Maybe they switch it to KDA now, and then once they have the larger influx, adjust it.
Does your KDA get affected if you're a support character?
No, because the A is still in there. So if you're 0, 5, and 20, you have a good KDA.
Okay. I don't pay that much attention, so
I think Aimless just cracked the fucking code. I really like this idea.
Bro, somebody hire Aimless.
Not as an ADC though, because he really can't aim.
Oh my god, get him out of here. Shit. And I'm sorry, Goose, I interrupted you. What were you saying? Aimless cracked the code and what?
That's all I had to say was that Aimless cracked the code, but put that shit in there. I have no fault with it. I can't think of anything bad about having KDA based matchmaking.
Enki in the chat is saying, I don't know, I have a 2.8 KDA, but I'm 900 elo. I can't play with people with that high KDA. Well, here's the thing. If you can afford an average 2.8 KDA across all of your characters, and this is average KDA, right? If you have an average KDA of 2.8 across all your characters, and you go up against somebody or a whole lobby that is similar 2.8 KDA, you'll be chilling because you're technically amongst people that are at about your skill level. It's not like you're 2.8 and you're going to go up against somebody that consistently has like a 5 KDA. Like they're always 15 and 3. You get me? That's way different.
Right. And you said Enki? Enki, that would, for the first couple of matches, when they make this change.
If they make that change.
If they make those changes. Yeah, you're right. My bad. Yep. Good catch on that one, because that's definitely an if statement. If they make this change, for those first however many matches, you're gonna feel it, but it's gonna level out. Mm-hmm. And then you're gonna be like, okay, now I'm where I need to be, and then you'll start feeling that. Then you can build or decline from there, however it goes.
And your elo, and it's like Astera is saying in the chat, your elo actually won't matter, because right now we have gold players or silver players that are 900 elo because of the small player base. You get me? Like, we have people that genuinely should be a diamond player in every other MOBA, but they're only 1300 in fault because of the small player base. Elo does not adequately represent your skill level because of the small player base. That's why like we're suggesting what Aimless was mentioning. Like, if they actually adjust it to KDA, it might be more accurate for smaller masses. And then once they get an influx of players, once they actually reach the spot where they need to be to import the actual MMR system, the ELO system, then they can swap over. We're just saying this could be a good temporary fix, because the current MMR system that's in there is not designed for a small player base. It's designed for a large player base. That's a chicken before the egg scenario. And I don't think it's a bad system at all. I just think that the player base numbers are showing flaws that wouldn't normally be there with a large player base. So just like they're doing with their favorite system, they're tweaking now, but they're eventually going to change it completely. They could easily just do KDA based system now and then change it later completely.
So Ryan Red says, speaking as a gamer, not a dev, personally feel like that would make some even more sweaty and some AFKing to avoid more deaths. For example, flaming would increase from those who die due to a missed bot D or something like that.
I mean, they're already going to rage if you die and didn't use your bot D.
Yeah.
It's already going to happen. You get me?
That would change. And then,
but the difference is, let's say, for example, if a carry died because support didn't bot D, I'm going to be real with you, homie. You shouldn't have been relying on that one bot D to stay alive. You should have picked your engagements better.
Right.
And at that point, maybe you deserve the KDA.
Let's not pick apart that exact statement, but like the whole encompassing point of that statement. You know, it's not just a bot D in that situation, but like you are going to have people who are going to like, okay, I'm just going to alt F4 because if I play this match, my KDA at the end of it's going to be destroyed, you know, or whatever. Like, you're going to have stuff like that. That's going to be a thing. I still agree with you guys that this would be a better situation for what we're at right now, because you're going to be then facing the characters that are better for you, the teams that are better for you. It's going to be a more enjoying fight, you know, a match, you know, until then.
And I'll be real, people alt F4ing to save their KDA. People alt F4 already anyway, because they're like, well, we're going to lose this anyway. I'm going to lose Elo anyway. I'm just going to alt F4, go watch the Netflix episode and come back. And those individuals that are going to rage quit are going to do it anyway. Go ahead, Goose.
And that should be picked up. Like, if you alt F4 a match, then there should be repercussions for that. If you AFK during a match, they have easy anti-cheat now. It can pick up that kind of shit. Fucking come down hard on that.
Yeah. I've played several games where, let's say I had a shitty connection where I was playing from, right? Like, I tried to fucking play Call of Duty on fucking hotel Wi-Fi or whatever it might be, right? I've had situations where the game picks up my network instabilities and literally just gives me a warning like, hey, keep disconnecting from matches. You will receive a ban, a temporary ban. And then I go in and play. Unfortunately, I have a shitty internet connection. It happened again. Unfortunate. So I knew that for the game I was playing, maybe I shouldn't fucking play this game on hotel Wi-Fi. You get me? But I understood that in the grand scheme of things, that was a better experience for the majority of players. and I was just the one individual that was suffering. Like, you're not going to be able to please everybody with every decision. Again, the whole point of the suggestions that we're making is making it a better experience for the other 99%. The 1% that doesn't like a decision, they're never going to like it. But those choices that would help the experience for the 99% should be highly considered. You don't necessarily have to do everything we say, of course, but it definitely should be considered. Jameson saying in the chat, KDA based matchmaking doesn't really work in a MOBA. You can have low KDA because of high death count, but still be a higher elo player, or low KDA, low deaths, but not be as great in the game. Yeah, but an elo system doesn't work in a MOBA with low players anyway. I'm literally just offering the lesser of the two evils, in my opinion. Because that's what it comes down to. I don't disagree that the elo system is better. It's just not better for the small player base.
So for right now, with our player base is what it is, and like whatever the number may be, I don't care. Let's just say 300 players, right? When we get to that 1,000 players, then we switch to the elo system. Right now, we just run off a KDA system, and then once we get up to a higher spot, now we got to make that switch. We do a patch. Like, here we go, and now we're off. Now we're working off elo matchmaking because we are at the higher player base, and we were able to sustain that player base.
Yeah. All I know is that right now, when you queue in default, a vast minority of the time, do you have a game where you're equally matched and you have a good game. Most of the time, you're either up against Tyson or you're punching a baby. Like, you're either up against a bunch of players that have no idea what the fuck they're doing and it's just easy mode, or you're up against
Tyson,
somebody
that sounds like a baby.
Yeah.
I can't with you, bro. I almost asked them, Tyson, who the fuck is Tyson? And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, he means Mike Tyson. Okay, no, but that's you're not wrong. Like
chicken.
Oh yeah, clearly my Dino Nuggets, bro. Throw respect.
Dino Nuggets.
But I mean, you're not wrong. I don't disagree that at least how it feels. It definitely feels that the matches are disproportionate most of the time. Whether it's in your favor or not, it definitely feels like, damn, bro, I really shouldn't be leaning against this carry right now. Like it's just not fair. It's just not fair between us. Or like, yo, I'll be real with you. That mid laner, way fucking better than me. I'll tell you what. I understand it, but I know that there's a lot of people that won't understand it for the small player base. You get me? Like, again, we're thinking the 99%, not the 1% that might bitch and complain because it doesn't favor them in their skill level. We're talking about what might actually be better for the 99%. And I honestly do strongly feel that if it were KDA with a small portion of players, and then once they start averaging a certain number of players, switch it back to the elo system, because I do agree that the elo system is better. I don't think that it's better for the current state of the game. But some matchmaking is better than none. That's why I'm thinking KDA for now might actually be an idea.
It's worth at least a shot to see how it goes.
I would love that. Like if they actually just said, hey guys, for the next week, all matchmaking is going to be based off of KDA.
Right.
We would love everybody's feedback. Submit it here to this link, blah, blah, blah. After the week, on this day, it will go back to elo matchmaking. And then there you would actually see people are going to be like, yo, thank goodness. Thank goodness it's back. I love my matches better with the elo MMR. Or you're actually going to get people like, yo, my matches were way better with the KDA. Please, we need to make that a more permanent thing. You're not going to get proper feedback if you don't actually test it. And you can have an organized, scheduled test from this Monday to that Monday. This is what's going to happen. Give us your feedback. I think this is the stage where they should be testing shit like that out, regardless.
Big R. Big R, you're hilarious. I love it. Asteris also says it lessens the chance of Smurfs that can exploit the game. So that's the thing is like if you're a Smurf, you create a Smurf and you go into a game and you just blow up and you go 20-0-0, like you're literally going to have a high KDA, right? So now you're going to play against those high KDA players, which is going to be
within one match.
Right.
Yeah.
So you shit on you shit on like one group of people, and then all right, now you go up there, and the only way for you to play against the lower tier people is to suck, and for lack of better terms, you do bad,
if you're a Smurf with a 1.0 KDA, trust me, you're not really affecting the game that much. Keep smurfing on your mid account, whatever. Like at this point, you're just as you might be a master carry, but you're clearly a bronze mid lane, whatever. But the moment that you affect that KDA, you start going up against harder people.
Yep.
I don't think that would be a bad system to help combat current smurfs and to help balance the player base until, again, and I keep saying this because I want to emphasize it, until there's enough players to go back to the traditional, typical ELO system, which is the better one.
For sure. 100%. I like it. See, this is why we brought it up, Mangu. So you didn't have an idea of what we do, but with the fact that we hashed it out between us three and live chat, we were able to figure a good solution for this.
What?
You said you didn't like you. I don't like to bring up problems if I don't have a solution.
Oh, okay.
You said. I said this is a good thing we brought this up because we were able to have, between the three of us in live chat, we were able to hash out a good solution in our opinion. Now, again, this is our opinion. This doesn't mean the devs feel this way. But the one thing I do know about this show is that the devs do watch it. Hence, Jamson and Ryan Red already in here, Balix being in here. They do watch it, and they do take all of our opinions into the consideration, and things may or may not change due to that. So,
yeah, I will say though, like I do see Jamson in the chat saying it isn't really a fix. It would work the exact same way MMR is base, just different numbers. You still need a filter of acceptable matches from the KDA range, which again, I understand. I just personally, I disagree that it's not a fix, because a Band-Aid could be a fix, just a temporary one. Like it could be a temporary fix until we get to a state where the traditional MMR system is going to happen.
The issue they're going to have is trying to figure out what queue times are going to look like. That's going to be the issue. Because right now we have a range for ELO, right? And that range of ELO is widened so the queue times are lower, right? So, right, you were talking about how the KDA being like a 2.5 to 1.5 or whatever, or a 1.5 to 2, only a half point of KDA pretty much to, for the spots, for your levels. But is a half point, is that going to be enough, or is your queue time still going to be too high? Are you going to do a full point of KDA? That would be the testing that would have to be done to figure out what the queue times are looking like. Okay, we'll have to increase it. All right, difference between KDA this, difference between KDA this. That would be something they'd have to figure out.
I would love for them to just take a poll with the community, get feedback, instead of just shutting it down before even considering it.
I don't think it's being shut down. I literally don't.
I'll agree to disagree with you right now, because anybody that's coming up as to why it's not a good idea is shutting it down. Personally, like if you sit here and have a conversation with me and you only bring up points about why it's not a good idea, you're shutting it down. You're not being open-minded. You feel me?
That's kind of what our show is, though. Is you and me? We started off being really good.
No, yeah, but we disagree on purpose just to bring up different points of the conversation that need to be brought up. A little different.
But how do we know that James is not doing that as well? Just to to see what the argument is, or what the community feels about it, because a good amount of the community, not a good amount, a decent amount of the community is here. Jamson brought up something. All right, we brought up arguments for it, and you look at Gen Chat and you look at the chat of the stream right now, and they're also bringing up points towards it. Like it's not necessarily being like, hey, we're not doing it. It's not a guarantee.
Okay, so I'll agree that it's not an official. No, we're not doing it. But I do want to mention that in general, it's worth being mindful that the way that devs react can easily send a message. You get me? And regardless, and that includes for us partners too and whatnot, like the way that something is portrayed, received, the way that it's what we say back, etc., can easily just send out the message whether we agree or disagree with something. And you feel me? Like if you ever see somebody in a position of power automatically say, I don't like that idea, then you already know it's very unlikely it'll ever happen. You feel me? I definitely think that specifically in this area, I would love to see them gather more data, run a poll, see if the community vibes with it. Literally just run a short test and see what's better results for the time being. There's a lot of approaches that you could go into it besides simply just saying, I don't like it.
They could also, even just because they're the devs, literally just make the change and just see the perception, just see how Gen Chat changes. People are like, hey, I noticed I'm doing this or whatever, this is happening or whatever. Oh man, my games have been so much better. Or man, these games, like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just getting matched up against asshats or whatever, you know, like literally just, you know, you could just make the change and then we don't know that they made the change and just see how everybody reacts to it. But I agree with you. I would love to see a poll to let the community, you know, voice their opinion on it, and go from there.
And Peep Talk just brought up an interesting different side of that. If your KDA is affected by your team, then wouldn't that ELO MMR also show that same reflection? Because if you don't work well enough as a team, you're going to lose regardless. So if your KDA is lower because you're relying on your team too much, etc., like it's going to reflect how you play as a team regardless, or in a team environment, you know? I don't know. Like, again, there's different sides. I don't disagree that the traditional MMR system that they have is better for the game. Like I've said a million times, I just really, really think that it would be a better Band-Aid for the time being until the game gets to that stage. But yeah, so let's call it. We're reaching about the traditional time frame that we're usually here. Goose, you got anything you want to say to the community?
No, nothing that I haven't already said. I like this idea, Aimless.
Hashtag hire Aimless. Bearded?
Don't forget about the Fault Rivals tournament happening tomorrow at 11 a.m. Let me post those links real quick in Discord chat or in the stream chat, and
we'll make sure they're posted everywhere else as well.
Have some fun, yeah.
True. And my 2 cents, I would definitely just say, as far as the community in general, whether you're new or not new, don't be afraid to say that they're new, and don't be afraid to ask if they're new. Because that simple question, like a couple of people in chat have been mentioning, knowing that somebody's new or not officially will actually change your perspective on people sometimes. So leading with that and then going from there, that's going to be your own prerogative, right? But at least you gather a little bit of data before you start flaming somebody, quite frankly, because you can't stop people sometimes. But if you know they're new, some people might actually take it easy. Don't be afraid to ask. But yeah, guys, appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, guys, all of these videos are always streamed live on Bearded's channel every single Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Then from there, they do get posted on YouTube and podcasts from Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts all the following Wednesday. So there is a delay to when you can actually see these after the fact. If you do want to take advantage of these ahead of time and be there live, you know where to go. But as always, thank you so much, homies, for actually chilling with us. Thank you so much for sticking out throughout the game. None of us here are actual devs. I know some people actually think we are for some reason, but none of us are devs. We're literally just gamers. And some people honestly confuse the fact that we might be devs because we do this or something. But we're just gamers like everybody else, right? Like we just get on here, we talk with the community. Everybody's welcome to join us on these shows. If you have a webcam, just hit us up. Talk to Bearded, hit him up in the DMs. Usually he's the one that kind of coordinates that. But thank you so much, everybody, for chilling with us. And till the next one. Peace.
Peace.